I don't think that went well for me, but whatever.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Hey, paisanos! It's the Super Wildcard Weekend Super Show! It's actually the Pat Mayo Experience. Spread picks for Super Wildcard Weekend! Jeff is on the line with me, so you smash the like to this episode. You subscribe to Mayo Media Network. Turn on the auto downloads for the podcast feed and play in the DraftKings NFL Listeners League. Hell, play in the PGA one, too. They're both down in the description right now. Jeff, it's playoff time. Are you reinvigorated right now?
You know, Pat, I'm happy you asked that question because truthfully, I am. And forget taking away the betting for a moment. I support all loser franchises. The Bills, the Browns, the Lions. Who else in this left in this mix is a known loser? Like, you have my emotional support to get over a hump. I'm very romantic about Stafford playing the Lions. Like, that just makes me love football. I don't know how I would be able to deal with that if I was a Lions fan, but that's what makes it special and more fun for us outsiders.
All right. Well, I think we should probably just dive into everything because we have a jam-packed show. The coin is over there, which I totally forgot about. Paul is behind the camera, and on the line, it is Tim Undergust.
Tim Andergust.
Not my name.
How much would you hate Aaron Rodgers if he wasn't the quarterback of the New York Jets?
I don't know how to answer that hypothetical question other than to say when he wasn't, I wasn't his biggest fan.
So yes is the answer.
But I don't,
you hate him a lot.
But like, no, look, I kind of just need to get to September and I'm not paying attention as close.
Yeah, Jeff, he said he's given up.
I read essentially he did his exit interview.
Yeah, well, Jeff, Tim said that he gave up on Jets Reddit. That he's not going there anymore.
I mean, he assured us he was going to go on a little cleanse. So I believe he's probably lasted, like, if the season ended Sunday, I believe he's at least 2 days into his cleanse. I do believe him. And I believe you, Pat. The type of content or rants we would get if if Rodgers was anywhere else would be quite remarkable. But at the same time, because Rodgers is where he is, we get the rant of hypothetical championships and such.
Well,
so we got it just earlier and different. We already got the gold.
Well, one of the keys to being quit something is to lose the enablers in your life, or at least triggering situations when you would fall back into old habits. This works for gambling addiction. This is for drug problems, for smoking. So, if you're trying to quit smoking, like I've been trying to do over the past few months, going very well, by the way, you can use something like a product like Lucy.co and code Mayo to get yourself a discount over there for the lozenges and the gum. And then you take yourself out of the situation where you're not doing things where you always smoke all the time, and then it makes it much easier to not think about it. And you don't have those reactions, like those Pavlovian reactions to everything. For Cust, he has to separate himself. Unfortunately, it's just his internet friends on Reddit are the ones that are enabling his crazy thoughts. But now that he's not doing that, Jeff, I thought we would just read some Jets Reddit if you wanted to.
Oh, let's not do that. I really haven't been on there since basically the little upvote party about the Patriots' loss and our victory. And Jeff talked about loser teams. Like the Dolphins are as big a losers as any of those teams.
What about the Jets?
Well, he talked about the playoffs.
No, he's right. The Dolphins they've won a playoff game in 20 years. And before we get into Jets Reddit, I know most of the Dolphins fan I know we've spoken about aren't like the fake ones Tim describes. They're kind of sane, rational, beaten down. But I don't know, Sunday they turn like different and angry. At least some of the ones that I know that are usually just sane and rational. So they're starting to tilt. But you're right, loser franchise, emotional support, they got it from me.
The Dolphins do have an undefeated season and have won a Super Bowl, though. That kind of establishes them as different than the other teams that you talked about, Jeff.
Yeah, but I'm talking about dudes who are like 38 years old, 40 years old,
Yes.
Pat. You don't get 72. Okay?
No, like Garion said there on Sunday night. He was 8 years old the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game. I
You
remember
get
it was
Jay
Lamar Smith.
Fiedler. You get Jay Fiedler blood dumps to Lamar Smith. Okay? That's what you get. That's your memory. That's what you have. So I get it. At one point, we've spoken about it before. The Dolphins were like a blue blood franchise. They were like that 72 season held them off. Marino again, like, but they're not even close. Like they in our lifetime, Pat. And if I'm wrong, Dolphin fans will correct me. I don't know that a team has like dropped in status more since like we started becoming like big football fans in the early mid 90s.
Basically, the Patriots took their
Maybe
spot.
the Raiders.
Yeah, but the Raiders
No,
won.
the Raiders are different though, because they still when the Raiders and Bear like do stupid shit, like they just got to be mean and stupid and nasty to like maintain their shtick. Obviously, winning is part of a culture, but no, not like the Dolphins. I don't think it's close. Maybe the Raiders have really embarrassed themselves a lot.
Garion said since 8 years old, but everyone forgets that Garion was born on Leap Day, so he's only actually like 9 years old or something, Tim.
That is true, but luckily for him, we are in a leap year, so maybe So I guess he'll get to celebrate his whatever birthday it would
And
be.
you can be a blue blood franchise and lose your shine for a little bit, but it just can't be too long. Like I would argue San Francisco. They had their dips at a couple times, but it was never so long where it felt like they actually left blue blood franchise status. So I still have always given it to them.
I mean, Washington
You're right. Washington
has
you're
lost
right.
its
Put Washington
blue blood
beside
status.
Miami.
They were every bit. They were bigger than Philadelphia, and not quite Giants and Cowboys big, but like bigger than Miami, bigger than Pittsburgh,
That's a great
bigger than San
point.
Francisco.
Yeah, the Washingtons for sure have to, at least in like people in our like very tight in our age corridor, for sure. Their fall is maybe bigger than Miami's because I would argue they were bigger than Miami.
Yeah, definitely were. NFC East, nation's capital, winning Super Bowls. The Hogs, a team with a lot more
Like
recent success than the Dolphins.
Well, Jeff, you throw me off. It's been 5 minutes since I wanted to read Jets Reddit, so I'm going to read Jets Reddit. Here's the number one post from
I don't want
one
you to.
hour ago, Jeff. I'll tell it to Jeff then, because he's not on Reddit. Titans fire Vrabel. Jacksonville nukes their entire defensive staff, and your New York Jets have done absolutely fucking nothing after a 7-11 season. I knew there weren't going to be a lot of wholesale changes because of Rodgers, but the fact that we've made zero changes after a historically inept offense is absolutely disgraceful. I think what did it for me was having, after the worst performing O-line in the NFL, Bob, quote, runs the stairs Saleh, has the audacity to come out and say that Keith Carter has done a great job. It makes me sick. Would you agree, Tim?
I mean, with the first part, yes, but I don't know. I don't think a changing offensive line coach is going to solve everybody being hurt this year or picking some wrong guys for the spot. Like, I don't know. And I am frustrated too to see these teams making weird decisions, and we could capitalize on it. But it was inept, but it's not the offensive line coach's fault that Vera Tucker got hurt and that basically everyone got hurt, and that
Did you not pay the internet bill this week?
I can't get too exercised about that.
What's going on with your internet, pal?
Nothing. Things are smooth on my end.
It's not working.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm hearing and seeing things very smoothly.
Yeah, well,
the audio bar keeps moving.
No, like I'm hearing everything fine.
Okay, well, we'll monitor the status of that. So maybe we'll do a Jets Reddit check-in every single week with you to give you a taste of what's going on. I can't believe you said you went to the upvote party for the Patriots loss and then left Jets Reddit.
I just upvoted some Patriots law stuff and had some fun in Patriots Reddit for a bit, and then I got bait. I said goodbye.
Well,
So
I
what are
really
you
wish I'd
hoping-
stayed around long enough for Dolphins Reddit on Sunday night because that was such an embarrassing performance.
And so this is just a Jets Reddit. Like you will.
No, I won't go on any sports. I can't
If
honestly.
the Dolphins lose on Saturday night, you are not going on Dolphins Reddit.
No, because
Sure.
if I do
Not a chin. No.
that, it'll just lead me to go to no. Because if I do that, it'll just lead me going to Jets Reddit to vote in the upvote party, and I just don't
What's
need
the
that.
upvote party? What do you mean vote?
You just upvote to basically express your joy in the circumstances. Yeah, see, I don't know. They may not have these things on 4chan or Rumble where you lurk, but on the front page of the internet, there are things called upvote parties.
we should recap what happened for the season and last week in terms of the picks. You guys both got your super locks correct, which means you guys are still in a battle. You're both 2 games under 500. The super locks are supposed to be over. I win at 10-8. Jeff, Houston comes through. You get to 7-9. Cust gets Tampa Bay -5. They go to 8-10. So you guys can continue to have a battle until a second place winner is determined in the playoff. Last week, Jeff, you and I both went 8-8. Tim and the Coin both went 9-7. So Tim finishes at 129 and 140 for the year. That's last. Jeff comes in third at 137 and 132. And by 1 game, I beat the coin. The flipping of the coin. That's how good we are. 141 and 128 for me, 140 and 129 for the coin. Those are the final results of the spread picks for the
How did
2023.
free money do?
What? Can you wait to me
How did
to
free
fucking
money do?
Can you wait for me to finish? Jesus fucking Christ. No, I'm not going to tell you how the free money did. I'll edit it out. How about that?
Okay.
It won, which I was saving for the big
Yay.
finale.
Yeah, fair enough.
Can't wait for the credit.
Jeff gets it.
I don't know. Tim's audio.
Yeah, Tim, I can't even hear a word he's saying.
I don't understand it because it's perfect on my end, and I see you guys.
You really,
Listen,
so you've never heard of a circumstance where something might be wrong on your end, but it's not showing you on your end? You've never thought about that?
No, I actually don't think it can be because the stream is perfect, and I hear you perfectly.
You realize that there's a difference between downloading and uploading, right?
Yes, but there's nothing I can do about it.
I understand that, but you can't pretend like it's not happening. We can try to fix it.
You guys have lied to me so many times in the past about this kind of stuff that my natural reaction is to not believe what I'm being told. I'm sorry. I'm used to being played with.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're putting me in a prickly mood. I came in a great mood, all fired up for the playoffs. Now you're cutting me off, demanding early credit when I was trying to build you up. Like, what are you doing? What's wrong?
What's wrong is that I'm really frustrated, okay? I'm not looking forward to the playoffs. I look at a year where my team should have won the Super Bowl, where there are no elite teams, really. And like my team won 7 games with 0 quarterback play, which would have won 15 to 17 games with quarterback play. And it was just a complete wasted season. And now there's amazing coaches out on the marketplace that we could go get that we're not going to get. And I'm in a bad mood, and I'm not excited for the playoffs. I want them to be over.
So do you suggest that people not watch the playoffs because the Jets aren't in it?
I didn't say that. I'm just saying I'm not excited for them. I'm excited to get to next September when I have a chance to win again.
I mean, I'm excited for the playoffs, but the day after the Super Bowl, like I get a pep in my step. It's like, okay, let's reset the quest. And I'm the sick fuck. Like I'll put 500. If I like the number, I'll put 500 on the Chargers the day after the Super Bowl. That's how insane I am.
When you say that you like the number, when was the last time that you didn't just put 500?
Last year. Remember I told you I waited. Like I didn't have it. Like all through the offseason. Now before the season got there, I finally did it, but I didn't. I didn't do it. But I've been known to do it right away. If I feel like that's good enough for me. I do agree with some of what Tim said. I myself also feel like I'm a waste of space and it was a waste of fucking time. And he's got his problems. The Kansas City Chiefs finally were normal and there was no one fucking there to do anything about it. Okay. There are years of like trying to build it up to be in a place to do something about it. And then the moment came, and we couldn't participate. So that's frustrating as fuck. So I sympathize with Tim, but I am excited to actually see the playoffs. As I said, and Tim made a point there. This is a pretty interesting, deep class of available coaches. If you've got a mid coach, you almost hope your team is in secret trying to improve. Like maybe not firing him, but firing him if you can get the guy you want and working in the shadows. But I don't know if maybe it's just me and my bias to the situation, but Tim seems like he's jealous of anyone with a vacancy. And I don't think we've seen a available crop like this in a long time. I don't think there's been a cycle this rich in a long time.
We do have breaking news from Adam Schefter as it pertains to the Los Angeles Chargers. It just came across my timeline. The Chargers have completed their interview with interim head coach Giff Smith for their head coaching job.
On. Fuck off.
Well, that's what it says.
That's like, whatever.
Because they have
due process.
Because they have a social media quarterback and a good social media team, do you think that just for branding reasons, based on the videos and GIFs they could make, they might keep GIF?
No, I don't even think it's like keep him in the organization or keep him as head coach.
Keep him as head coach.
No.
Okay, I guess that's not going to happen. Mike Vrabel was
But I'm
fired.
not excited. Like, I had my moment where I allowed myself to get a little too excited about Harbaugh, and I've come down. Like, I will not allow myself to get Ohtani'd for a second time this winter. I don't believe it's going to happen. I don't trust us to do it. I'm not going to allow myself to believe it. So while he is my number one choice, I don't believe the Chargers will do it.
Okay. What about Mike Vrabel, who was fired today from the Tennessee Titans, which... Do you think, Tim, that there was like an unspoken agreement that Belichick was going to step down and Vrabel was just going to get this job, and that's why it just kind of happened out of nowhere so quickly?
No, I think the Titans are morons.
Okay.
That's what I think. They gave away A.J. Brown for nothing. Now they fired a better coach than they're going to possibly. They're morons.
You catch any of that, Jeff?
What?
I got.
All right. Well, then I
heard
guess
him say they're morons
I
twice.
guess I can't be on the show then because there's nothing else I can do.
We'll work through it. I hope.
No, I don't. No, we're not going to work through it because people don't want to listen to that garbage.
Just jiggle
jiggle
the USB a little bit. Try that out.
There is no USB. I don't have a USB.
Like, how does your microphone plug into your
It just
computer?
plugs in.
Yeah, the USB port or whatever the port is. Just try jiggling that a
Plugs
bit.
through USB.
Oh, it's
It doesn't plug in.
It's
USB.
just a laptop.
Whatever he just did you just touch something?
Yeah, I unplugged the microphone and plugged it back, like my headset, in and out.
Well, it sounds a lot better now.
Okay, well, I hope it's better, but like, there's nothing else I can do.
Well, I mean, there is. We can go through this. We don't need to leave this in the show.
So that's what we're trying to get.
Yeah,
you
that's what
to
we're
do,
trying to
the
do, so we
headset.
can do the show.
No, but I'm not going to, for the viewer's sake, I'm not going to be cutting out every couple of seconds.
That's why we want to troubleshoot it to try to fix it.
Well, okay, what can I do?
You can turn your Wi-Fi off and turn it back on.
Yet.
Yeah, like we can stop. We can say, hey, turn off your Wi-Fi.
I will try my Wi-Fi, but if
Yeah.
that doesn't work, then there's nothing else I can do.
You can call in.
You'll have to proceed without me.
You can call in like you've done before.
And that sounds terrible, and I don't want to do that to you.
So you don't want to be on the show, is what you're saying. You don't have to be on
I
today
will.
if you don't want to.
I will reset the Wi-Fi,
Oh, if
but
you-
I'm not.
Oh, I'm sorry. The 3 seconds it takes to reset your Wi-Fi, that's now too much?
It's gonna be like 5 minutes.
What?
I didn't say unplug your router. I said turn the Wi-Fi off on your laptop and turn it back on.
Okay, well I can try that, but I think it's probably the router.
Then unplug the router and turn it back in. Let's try this one to see if it works. If it doesn't work, and then we'll try that.
The people are gonna love this content, I think.
Oh yeah.
Something happened today. Like, I don't mean to dive, but something has rattled him before we came on the air, because this wouldn't do that. Like, he's in a place today.
Maybe it's listen, I talked about when you're getting off drugs, maybe getting off Reddit is the same way. He's just going through withdrawal. It's really starting to affect him today. Do you want Vrabel as a coach?
I have these moments where he's like an obvious great choice, but then you replay like.
Is that any better?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, hopefully.
hopefully it is. We can. We
I
heard
don't
that.
think
Sounds good
listen,
here.
Vrabel. I'm very much aligned with a coach who wants to cut his dick off to bring me a championship. Like that is a coach that I want a foxhole with. I do worry about some of the like fourth down decisions. And I know there's the polarizing ones from like the playoff game versus the Ravens probably 3 years ago, but I don't think he's learned from those either.
Maybe
He's a great coach. I couldn't complain. No Charger fan. I would not be able to complain, but I assume he's going to be he's probably going to get Arthur Smith to be his offensive coordinator.
Well, I was thinking too, do you get rid of Vrabel? Because obviously Arthur Smith has the ties both to the Titans and to Nashville. It seems insane to fire Mike Vrabel and then bring in Arthur Smith as your head coach, just seeing how well that just went in Atlanta. But you think there's anything there?
I think the Titans are going to hire a very nondescript, low-profile candidate.
So not John Harbaugh.
I don't think you're going to see them linked to anything close to that. And it's not even about the money. I think they're going to just be in like a completely different coaching search than some of the other teams. They're going to be.
I meant to say Jim Harbaugh, not John Harbaugh. I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, certainly not. I don't know. I think about this Harbaugh stuff probably way too much. I'm scared shitless the Raiders are going to do something. The Commanders seems like an incredible job because the second overall pick in the cap space, it's truly like a tabula rasa, like blank slate. Like you can do whatever you want there and make it your own vision. Granted, with the Chargers, he has Justin Herbert, but he could probably think of it like anyone who's trying to hire him can just sort of sell it to him like it's not about now. Like you're going to be here for a decade. You're going to fix it. You're going to build it. So I don't know that the instant is as important as maybe it felt at the beginning of the process. And maybe it's lazy journalism. And I believe the Chargers are being. I believe, and this is an elite strategy, that Harbaugh's camp is potentially bullying the Chargers. Because I can't go anywhere without reading the link from Harbaugh to the Chargers. How much he's wanted this job, how he wanted it last year, how much he was at a funeral like a year ago just talking up Justin Herbert, like unsolicited. There's so many weird stories that I'm seeing in my own little orbit. And I believe it's now the point where if you follow anything, you've seen this stuff. So my point being is if you're a Chargers fan, if you're a football fan, if you're in NFL media, it's almost like Herbert wants the Chargers. Harbaugh is telling the world he would do the Chargers. And it's like when your mom, it's like, you want to have a sleepover. You ask your dad. He's like, yeah, you can have a sleepover, but you got to go ask your mom. Like Harbaugh saying yes, but now we're in the go ask your mom stage. So I feel like we're being bullied to sign him by his camp. And I'm all for that. I'm all for it, but maybe I'm probably just making shit up. And I don't think we're going to do it because we're stupid.
Tim, do you think that the Raiders would go for a big profile coaching hire? Because I'm just reading, they ended up settling with John Gruden, but they're still going to be paying Josh McDaniels for a few years, and they're just notoriously cheap.
That's a good question. I suspect they've made a ton of money in Las Vegas and can afford whomever they want. But I think they will be scarred from the mistake of not keeping Bisaccia on, which they almost certainly should have done, and going after a flashy coach, and that not worked. So unless they can nail down John Gruden, and I don't think that they can, or sorry, John Gruden, Harbaugh, and I don't think that they can. I think they'll stick with who they've got, like a 2-year deal. That's what I think that they'll end up doing.
It just
But what if Harbaugh would go to Harbaugh potentially going to a division rival? Could that not be like, I've got him, Mark Davis, like I can't help myself?
I mean, maybe, but John Harbaugh I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. Jim Harbaugh. Anyway.
Call him John Gruden, John Harbaugh.
Yeah, whatever his name is. I think he's a good hire. I still think Vrabel's a better hire. I would rather Vrabel in a heartbeat over him.
Really?
Yes, really. John Harbaugh hasn't blown a whistle in the NFL for 10 years. 10 years. And he wore his welcome out very badly in San Francisco.
He was
And
40
it's not
and
like he's behaved
19. 40 and 19. He went to 3 NFC title games and a Super Bowl in
a
4
very
years.
different NFL. In an NFL that doesn't look a heck of a lot like the NFL. The NFL 2013 and the NFL 2024 are similar in some ways and different in others. There's a real learning curve there. I don't think it's fair to
know
assume
how to put together a staff.
Maybe, but like it's no sure thing. It might work out great,
I
but like
think
that's
the
a
Raiders,
huge gap.
Pat, why I believe the Raiders job could be most attractive to him in the end is if he can just take more of a macro view of the situation. Is like Mark Davis, like, desperately doesn't meddle. Like, he doesn't want to meddle. He wants to hire a high profile coach. Like, that's his ideal. Like, obviously they have a situation now that's different, and that is what they're balancing. But he wants to just hire a high profile coach and like let them do whatever they want. Let them do whatever they want. And that has to be attractive to Harbaugh. I hope the Chargers, who I believe don't meddle, some people say they meddle. Their son is the head of football operations. So there is a level of meddling, but I believe maybe they're ready to just sort of, in the same way it feels like Robert Kraft, after 20 plus years and all the success, part of him must want his football team back. Like I just want my football team back. It's been great, but it's been long and I just want my team back. I need the Spanos family to be like, you need to take my team. I need to surrender my team to you, Mr. Harbaugh. In the same way that Tim feels about Aaron Rodgers, like, okay, I get it's not perfect. I get he's totally fucked and flawed in many ways. It's like the only choice I have. Do you understand like that logic from my end, Tim? Like it's the leap of faith I feel like has to be taken.
I understand it. I still think what you need is a CEO style coach that brings a ton of credibility to your franchise.
And the ultimate fixer.
And Harbaugh does check and Harbaugh definitely checks that box.
Everywhere he's been, he fixed. He fixed and he won everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he didn't win the Super Bowl in San Francisco.
No, and he didn't.
If they gave him more time, he would have.
Yeah, he didn't win a national championship in Stanford. Like he won at Michigan.
When you hold on a second?
In the year that he coached half the games.
You know what? You're right. Tim's right. He did not win a national championship at the University of San Diego coaching the Toros either.
No, but like the year they won the national championship, he coached like half the games. I mean, fair enough. Look, he obviously has turned around programs. No one's here to say that he hasn't. I think he'll be a good hire. To say that.
So where do you think he's going? Both of you make a prediction. Where does he go?
I think he has to
Washington.
leave. I think Washington too.
New ownership. They're gonna turn the reins over to him. I think he's going to be president of operations, head coach, general manager, everything. They're going to give him full reign. There's a franchise that needs credibility and also has deep pockets.
The pockets aren't as deep as people think, you know.
But the Chargers probably would be second. I don't see the Raiders making a change. I think the Raiders stick with who they've got. Although this Vrabel thing throws a real twist in things because there's a lot of Patriots infrastructure in Las Vegas that would make me think that they would be inclined to go grab him.
But
If
this
he wants to
coaching
coach
cycle
the
has
ship.
such strong names. You don't think there's teams who haven't fired their coach?
Yeah, but
who
we
are
can't.
like,
we,
if I can get that,
like, we can't speculate on that because we don't know what the teams are. Like the Saints said, they're going to keep Dennis Allen. It's like, okay, like I would have expected him to be fired, but he's not going to be fired apparently.
but I could see a situation where like the Bears or like are like, well, we don't really want to fire Eberflus, but if we can get that one guy, we would like that one guy is for sure an upgrade. This guy, we don't know. It's probably not worth a reset. That guy's for sure. But, and you just try to do it and you hope it doesn't get leaked publicly because then going back, you have problems. I am also crazy enough to look at like the Eagles. The Laurie fired a coach 2 years after winning a Super Bowl. He could fire a coach a year after going to a Super Bowl. He just fired one 2 years after winning one. If it's as truly as weird as they say, if he thinks like a Belichick or a Vrabel or a Harbaugh is an upgrade for his like win now situation in Philly. So I think there's still so much in the air. And there's 6 firings, and the Patriots, when that's official, is a 7. So probably even clears that.
We don't even know if that's going to happen yet, though. Like DraftKings Sportsbook has the odds set at the Chargers as the favorite to get Bill Belichick, like where Bill Belichick will coach next year. It's the Chargers, but then it's the Patriots at like 3-1. It's like 2-1, 3-1.
But does DraftKings also have a Harbaugh odd, and are the Chargers not the favorite for that as well?
I don't know. I didn't see. I just saw the Belichick one. But you think that Vrabel's a top 3 coach, Tim? I understand.
I think so. He had nothing. All the years he was at Tennessee, he had basically nothing. And he spun a lot of straw into gold there. And I'm not so sure I can think of any other coach that could have done, very many other coaches who could have done what he did.
But
That was such a performance. Even this year when like there were so many close games, just injury after injury. He's not picking the players. I think wherever he goes, that team is going to thrive because I think he brings with him instant credibility. He understands football. He understands how to hire people that will maximize the talent level that those players have. Whoever gets him, if he wants to coach next year, maybe he wants to take a year off. But if he wants to coach, whoever gets him will be much better for it. Tennessee will be worse for it.
I think of him, Jeff, in the same vein that I think of Tomlin and Pete Carroll and that type of coach. Like X's and O's, what is he bringing to the board? Nothing? Maybe he can build a defense. I don't know. But it's not like he's
Ryan
some sort
Tannehill had a great quote. He really knows all the rules, and he talks to the team about knowing how to use them to their advantage in certain situations. So that almost works to your point that like the X's and O's is not really his thing, but there are certain things that he points out to the team that he knows everything about. It was a quote from Tannehill on Sunday night that maybe I was reading too much into.
And he does seem to be a very good motivator, which I think is the ultimate unquantifiable thing when it comes to NFL head coaching, just how players respond to you to make them that 5% better, 10% better. That's why I would say like Tomlin and Carroll, like that's what they seem to do. Even when they have lesser talent, they can elevate that talent. That seems to be what Vrabel has done in Tennessee. But to spin it another way, Tim, to not say like not take the rosy view of Vrabel's time in Tennessee and to spin it the other way. Yes, they made the AFC Championship game one year, and they beat that terrible Patriots team the final Brady year in the first round, and then snuck through. But they basically just beat up on the worst division in football for 3 years and had like one decent run and had no chance to win the AFC Championship.
Yeah, so
okay, Tim.
I don't agree with that. They made the playoffs year before that. Then they had the 1 seed the year after that. Like that it's a little more longevity than that.
I would like to interrupt because I'm torn on what Vrabel actually is. I think for a specific team, he could be the perfect coach. But say for a team trying to get over the hump, I don't know that he's the right coach. Like, I think he's a good coach for a really bad team to maximize the talent. I don't know what he would do with a star team. I don't know. I mean that. Like, it's not like there's championship pedigree there. Now, I say all of that as a Chargers fan, beggars can't be choosers. If they drew musical chairs, ended up with him being a Charger, doesn't feel like a likely dot at all here, to be honest. But if that did end up that way, I don't think I could complain. I would accept that, and I'd probably smile, and I'd vow to cut my dick off with him. But I don't know. I think he's more of like, I don't think he's the right guy for David Tepper, but it's like I think he is best in like a bad situation to maximize and make, chicken soup out of some chicken shit. But I don't know that he's the guy that's going to take all the ingredients and win you a Super Bowl.
Jeff, your team is in a terrible situation. You are describing the Chargers, who just came off a 5-win season.
Well, their quarterback got hurt
for the last 4 or 5 games. So, like, they were disastrous even with the quarterback.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know what I'm not.
And they're going to have to get rid of a lot of these good guys.
I'm not saying the Chargers are the example of a championship of a win now team with all the ingredients. I'm not saying that we're that team that I don't know if he could fix.
No, you're the team that you just said he can fix. The team that needs someone who can maximize out of what the talent is there.
Yeah, you're probably right, because we're going to have to. Yeah, that thing's going to have to get bludgeoned. If it is up to me, we take a poison pill. Whoever comes in, I need it to be a 1-year poison pill and flush it out. The worst thing you can do is do what they did in Atlanta for a bit in the previous regime. They kicked it down the road so many times that the cap hell took like multiple years to recover from. Winning these 5 games shows that we're not nearly as close, and running it back is like not an option. So we can fix this death in one off season. If they restructure people, then we'll get into real trouble. They try to kick shit down the road. But we need Mike. So the team's going to be bad. Team's going to be bad. We won't have money to improve it. So maybe Vrabel is the right guy, but I'm not totally sold on him.
Well, we started this.
I'd rather him than Dan Quinn.
Sure. I still think that Brian Flores is the guy that you want to hire.
I don't think there's a chance of that. And that's a completely different rabbit hole. I would like to say I'm a psychopath. I made it through 90 minutes of an Arthur Blank presser.
Oh, Jeff.
82-year-old man. He's got all his marbles. So I think he would be certainly very interested in a 70-year-old man. But what a class act, I also saw Mr. Harris from Washington was out there in front of the media, took a Q&A. Yeah, I'm still the only team in the league who could fire a coach and a 10-year GM and feel they are not obligated to talk to me. But I'm going to talk to them. You better believe it. I think Arthur Blank's an incredible owner. Like, for all the mistakes in Atlanta, I believe the fans are lucky to have him.
Well, let's raise the spirits of this show before we get into the games, because we're on a somber note. It's a kickoff to 2024. It's supposed to be good times, which means that you, the people, can interact with this show in the way that you enjoy to do it the most, because the voting is now open on the 2023 year from January 1 to December 31st. Custy Awards. You can find the link down in the description right now. So, Tim, I know that you took it easy on Jeff a year ago because he fell down trying to shovel his driveway or something and blew out his knee. But you are back this year. And
2 years ago.
The Pat Mayo Experience is committed to giving both candidates, and all candidates, should I say, because I'm in the running too, equal platform to run their advertisements, whatever it might be. We want to be equal opportunity. So do you want to set something up?
I'd just like to say that for this year's campaign, after the shenanigans that got pulled, a lot of people were surprised we didn't run a heavy campaign last year. We were saving in reserve for what is coming this season. And we put a little video together for the people.
Most insane person of 2021, Jeff Feinberg. Yes! Yes! I misspoke. Yeah. Those were the pre-bot purge votes. The winner of most insane,
his ass.
Tim Andergast!
Oh. I was gonna have so much fun with this too. I had a whole year worth of fun stuff.
Guess who's back? Still doing that shit, aren't
So, Jeff, what do you think of that?
You say equal opportunity. Listen, there's an operation that I've come to be aware that I'm up against that I wasn't really previously aware that I'm up against. You might, in theory, yes, there's equal opportunity for the time on the platform, but let's just say there are people behind certain aspects who will forbid, like, whose life mission is to assist him in winning this thing, and just under no conscience will help with any aspect of my campaign.
Well, it sounds like there needs to be a big Jeff Feinberg fan out there to help you construct a video.
Yeah, no, I've hit up multiple people. One of them I even offered to compensate, and they're like, "No, I just want to see Tim. I just want to see you. They want to see me lose or win, however you would, whatever Tim wants." So yeah, that's a force that is out there. I understand. Listen, Tim eats that corn dog. You know, he's going to use a lot of things against me. You know, the whole Damar Hamlin thing.
Didn't do you any good.
Here's a part of the campaign, Jeff. Don't bring up the things that people want to vote for you on. You need to talk about the Tim stuff, not the you stuff.
No, and see, that's the you thing. You can't take something that I'm right about and spin it against
Well,
me.
that's exactly.
I don't want to go on.
That is what has happened, Jeff.
Wiped off the server how? Wiped off the server with a cloth? What do you mean I wiped the server off, right, Jeff?
Sorry, I missed that.
This is very much shaping up. Like, Tim has an organization here. He has volunteers in every single state. You might not even be on the ballot in some of these states, Jeff.
Yeah, no, listen, if the people feel like it is my time, if I've earned it, I will accept my fate. The voters are always right. They're right. I encourage everyone to participate and to vote. Tim is all about honor and integrity unless it comes to this manner. Like, then he doesn't want to play by the rules.
Paul
That's
has
not true at all.
No, your whole campaign last week was just like sympathy voting.
Look, that's nothing against the rules. That's they say politics ain't beanbag. Either get in the ring and throw a punch, or expect your campaign into submission, because we're not stopping. This is a steamroller that will not stop until we get to the pinnacle.
Your whole campaign speech last week was, don't
vote
you
for
want
Jeff.
to see
Lend your
what
vote
I
to
have
Jeff.
in store?
Don't you want to see? Lend your vote to Jeff for 1 year. Vote Jeff for 1 year. You know, you can come back to me whenever you want. But isn't it stale for Jeff never to win and for me always to get particularly in a year where Jeff has really misbehaved and really said some terribly egregious things? Isn't this a great opportunity to punish him? Because really, he may not be as offside in 2024 as he was in 2023.
I don't know. I thought I behaved in 2023.
Jeff, for which person's serious medical condition that you didn't take seriously were you well behaved?
There's nothing
multiple
serious
instances of
about
this.
an unserious medical condition.
Really, you don't think coming back from off the football field is a serious medical condition?
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Jay
someone's
Monahan.
tummy ache. No, cardiac
Yes,
arrest.
of course I was. Yes, of course I was talking about Jay Monahan.
Cardiac arrest is a serious condition, and there were heroes on the field that night, and they were on
But not enough for you to slightly criticize it at every turn because you had a ticket going the other way.
I really never had a ticket. I never had enough until I bought in on a Flacco 100-1. I never had enough money to like influence my opinion. It was always
Oh, Jeff.
no, I never had enough money down. Like it's always been about the dare I take it from you, but like getting the credit that I deserve on this one. But now I sound like Aaron Rodgers did 2 hours ago, so I should shut up.
Well, every candidate can have their say. Paul has wanted to say something. Who is on the ballot, Paul?
My thing was directed towards Jeff. If you lose to that and a guy who freaks out when we tell him his microphone isn't working, like you've got big problems. Like there's no way
Oh, look,
for you to
I'm
lose
not
this.
losing to this off that like it is
I can
now,
eat a corn dog sideways on Fifth Avenue and it won't affect me.
Your microphone's acting up a little.
Your
bit
microphone's
there,
acting up again.
But hold on a second, Paul. I am of the belief that now this has gotten to the point where it's Tim
It's
is
ri-
trying to
were
make
you
it
about
less
were you about to
authentic.
were you about to say it's rigged?
No. Tim's whole campaign is not about like what's happened. It's about like sympathy. Like I've taken so many L's. Now's the time. Feel bad for me. Woe is me. Like don't vote based on the facts on the ground. Vote based on these other reasons. So I believe like Tim himself would be ashamed to see any politician campaigning like this. He would call it out. My biggest argument died. The one thing that my campaign was going to strive on disappeared. And, now I've sent my meme team into hyperdrive and they refuse to even, make any anti-Tim content.
So you've alienated your base.
Then perhaps-
That's one thing you can't do.
Yeah, perhaps the graceful thing to do is just to concede now.
Do you want me
It'll
to?
be less painful for you.
Would you
when-
like it? Would that be better? Like,
No,
I
what,
mean,
like this sounds like a real competition this year. It's going to come down to the wire. So every vote counts in the Custody Awards. It's basically, does Jeff deserve the punishment of alleviating Tim from the most insane award, or do you vote for Tim because you just don't? Tim will talk about this every time he is on air for basically in perpetuity. Even 10 years from now, when we're probably still doing this show, Tim will still bring up that 1 year that he didn't win most insane.
Look at how he does poll results. A 4% poll is a victory. So in 10 years, one win in a decade, that's a super victory. That's a super majority to Tim.
In my
10%.
defense, I rarely bring up in the last several months, one of my greatest victories of the year.
Oh, so
Even
you,
though
oh,
I could bring it up
so
whenever I want. I
Actually,
choose
no.
to not do that.
No. You had a bet going on that you wouldn't bring it up until the new year. Now it's the new year. What's the first thing you do? Bring it up again.
I actually didn't have a bet. I heard that there were people who were betting on this subject.
Ah,
I wasn't involved in the bet.
so you were influencing the bet then. But I would
just
like to see
decided
if
that-
any.
yeah.
Listen,
Is this Wyndham Clark?
yeah.
He brings up Wyndham Clark like every other week.
No, I've been very good over the last several months.
Like 1 month, maybe. And I think you brought it up at Christmas.
Listen, I have no problem with Tim victory lapping. It was a great call. But eventually you have to move on to something else. So what I want to see is if there's any sportsbook out there, hopefully it's DraftKings Sportsbook, and if it's not, you just contact me, who wants to set a market for this that people can actually bet on. Jeff
No, well, that's
versus
gonna
Tim.
influence shit too.
Why? Well, I mean, make the cap $10 that you can bet on it.
Tim, if DeMar Hamlin doesn't win Comeback Player of the Year, you should concede. You should concede.
If he doesn't win Comeback Player of the Year, you taking a victory lap over a person who had a cardiac arrest and died on the field and then was brought back to life, not winning, will be so ugly, will be so bad for you that I think it will do
So just
nothing
out
but
of
drive
curiosity, a
voters
man
in
wins
disgust
$4,000.
into your camp.
A man wins $4,000. He should silent clap. 40 to win $4,000. I should sit there
Yes.
that night and be like,
Yes, out of decency. Yes,
dude,
you
I
should.
will be. You know what? I don't want to say it. It won't help my campaign.
Go ahead, say it.
Go.
What are you going to do, Jeff? How are you going to celebrate this this ill-begotten victory?
Oh, the internet will celebrate me.
Willis.
You should
Now
have said
who's
that
the
night
main
he
character?
played, was it the Jets on Thursday night? You saw the meme last week. I told you. I felt like Neil Armstrong.
You should be really proud of yourself.
Okay. Well, that was the variety hour version of the Spread Pick Show this week. Let's get to the actual games because we got some fun games this week. They're all Island games, so Jeff, you can lose all of the money on all of the games because they're all solo standing. Best time of year to be betting. We got Cleveland at Houston. Cleveland is a 2.5-point favorite in Houston. 44.5 is the total right now at DraftKings Sportsbook. For the season, the Browns were 10-6-1 against the spread. The Texans were 9-8. I actually have a very strong take on this game. I like the Texans, Tim, to win this game. So I like the Texans plus 2.5 at home.
I think that's the sharp side.
Oh,
Definitely. Don't trust Stroud in his first playoff game at home. I just don't. I think that Browns defense, which essentially is coming off a bye, important guys not playing. I think that team will be a little fresher, be a little bit more tenacious. I think it'll be a close game. I totally understand grabbing the points in a close game. But I think the Browns are going to win, and if I think they're going to win, I kind of have to lay the 2.5. So that's what I'll do.
I understand the Cleveland side of this game, Jeff, a lot, but Flacco's been getting away with it for 6 weeks or however long he's been playing. Like, the numbers have been really good. They've been winning games. The defense has played amazing at home. It has not been as good on the road. And I think a lot of people are looking back to when Cleveland played Houston in Houston, what was it, a month ago, whatever it might have been. Like, this isn't the same Houston team that's coming through. Like, it's not that I trust Stroud more than Flacco at this point, because, Flacco's a veteran. He's won a Super Bowl, and he's still chucking the ball deep downfield. But at this point in their career, Stroud is better than Flacco, and I don't think he's getting any credit for that just because he's a rookie.
I mean, the market flip on Flacco, I would just think about how many points he wasn't worth, or how much he sort of hurt the point spread when he came in and to what it is now. I do agree with you in the sense that it does feel like we're here and maybe we are getting some value on a significantly better QB. But you watch how they called that game on Saturday night, and it almost seems like Stroud is still winning, succeeding, in spite of how they call games on offense. Like, they don't give him nearly as many opportunities to change the game as he probably should. And Pat, something we've been doing here forever, I feel like I've always mentioned, is these first playoff games for these quarterbacks. And going back to 2002, I have every single first playoff start, thanks to Walter Football, who does this every postseason, broken down by home favorites, home underdogs, road favorites, road underdogs. And you making your first playoff start as a home favorite since 2002, you are 6-16 against the spread, 9-13 straight up. But to maybe Pat's point, how many of those situations was this rookie quarterback the significantly better quarterback in the game?
Well, additionally, the Texans aren't favored at home. They're underdogs at home.
Oh, sorry, home underdogs. I got that one wrong. Home underdogs, 3-6, ATS 2-7 straight up.
All right, so there's 9 games.
Yes, but in totality, since 2002, rookie quarterbacks making their first playoff start, 17-36-1 ATS, 17-37 straight up.
Okay. I still like Houston in this, and in real time, we have the spread at 2.5 in real time at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, it's 3 now.
It broke through to 3. So people are coming in. People are coming in hard on the Browns, and maybe they're right.
Can I make a comment?
It's a show, Jeff. Yes.
What about Houston and teasers?
I don't know. The last time they played, it was 36-7 at some point in the fourth quarter. The blowout potential is there for the Browns, and I just don't think it's smart in this game.
You think Houston can get blown out here?
I saw this Houston team, Sans Stroud, get blown out 3 weeks.
Oh, what was that part?
Christmas Eve.
I don't know if you cut out. Sans Stroud?
Yeah, Stroud didn't play in that game. It was Davis Mills and Case Keenum.
So, what are we doing? Like, aren't we allowed to cancel that from the record?
I mean,
Yes, of course. But I'm just saying that means the potential for the blowout is there.
I mean, Cleveland posted 36 on them in that game. It's not like the Texans' defense is all that different from that game. So they weren't able to contain the Browns' offense at all on the faster track.
Doesn't Houston stop the run?
They do stop the run pretty well, and they did in that game. Jerome Ford had 15 carries for 25 yards. Flacco threw for 368 and 3 touchdowns. The difference would be, like, even in that game, to go back and look at it, Flacco threw 2 picks, and the Texans just weren't able to do anything with it. I feel like if he does that again with Stroud has a better chance of capitalizing on that than Mills and Keenum did.
I'm rooting for the Browns emotionally, but I feel like this is going to be like a last-second game, like a 3-point game, and it's gone to 3.
Well, we have it at 2.5, so that's what we're taking it as. But I'm in a tricky spot because I like Houston to beat the Browns, yet I do think the team in the AFC, Tim, that has the best chance to knock off the Ravens and make that the best game might be the Browns.
Yeah, that is a weird combo. I feel like you got to pick one side or the other on that. If the Browns are really that second team, you kind of got to take them here.
No, but it's all circumstantially.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like these teams are even against each other, but what Cleveland does well, I think throws a wrench into what the Ravens do really well and slows them down. Where the Texans, I don't think that they have that in them. Maybe they do. So I'm going to who are you taking, Jeff?
I'm taking the Browns, but confidence level of the 6 games is probably 6.
So not your super lock is what you're saying?
Yeah, no. If it wasn't standalone, it would be no bet. But dude, like, I'll be starting. I don't know that I'll actually bet this game other than I'll start like a 4-game weekend parlay with it just to have some action. And because it's the first leg, it's gotta be there. Couple tight end first touchdown bets to start off a losing weekend.
Njoku might be one of the favorites. What you could
He
do
probably is. He made it to I had him in fantasy. I had him even when he played well at the end. But what a weird season. The guy didn't play well till Flacco showed up, and now he made the Pro Bowl. I know that doesn't count for much, but still so weird. It was good enough.
You could Jordan Atkins might be active for the Browns in this game as their 3rd tight end. He could have a revenge first touchdown against Houston. Keep that in mind. He'd be like 100-1 or something like that. Back when they don't make anyone 100-1 anymore. What about Beck? That Beck guy for the Texans. Is that your first touchdown bet? He'll tell you where it's at.
He's a fullback, right?
That's correct.
Because they've got another guy like Taylor who's the backup tight end.
Who?
I think.
Houston?
Jordan?
Yeah, Brevin Jordan's their backup tight end when Schultz doesn't play.
Sorry.
But they use Beck in goal line packages as like an H-back. He scored a few touchdowns this year.
Pat,
Yeah.
you need to ask Pizzola about these Carolina Panthers.
You don't think that I'm not?
Okay,
Is
but
super lock to get shut out in back-to-back weeks.
no. But I saw the most incredible stat on them, which shows like they're worse than you could even have thought, in the sense that no team has ever finished last in the entire league. But if you add up all of their point spreads from the year, no teams finished last and been a touchdown underdog fewer times than them. Like, their spreads really never got out of hand. And you see all around the league, like, last place teams, go look at it over the years. But time and time again, they sat on those stupid 5.5s and got their asses kicked.
Well, that's because they played.
So is that Pizzola's fault?
Maybe, but they also played in like the worst division. So like, how big a favorite?
Yes.
How big a favorites did you really want to make the Saints over the Panthers?
So that was it. Their schedule was easier than it was projected to be before the year, and they were still like so much worse.
Like, they only
It
play
just
like
showed how
like
easy their schedule was to be that bad with that schedule, and have never getting the points that the worst team in the league should have gotten. It's such what a problem.
Like, to look at it right now and just looking back at their schedule, I don't remember what games they were double digits or more than a touchdown underdog in, but I really only see 4 games where that would have been the case. Week 3 at Seattle, they were probably more than a touchdown underdog. At the Lions in week 5, they were probably more than a touchdown underdog. At the Dolphins in week 6, they were more than a touchdown. I think that was like 14 or something like that. And then until they played at home against Dallas, that would have probably been close to double digits. Other than that, it would have made sense for them to be like a 7-point dog in a lot of these games.
And I'll just off the top of my head, week 3, I believe they played the Thursday nighter in week 2 and they backdoored versus the Packers. And I don't think we were aware of how bad they were. I don't think they were getting a touchdown in Seattle, but
no,
maybe I'm wrong.
They backdoored a Monday night game against the Saints.
All right. See, now it's all a blur.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long time ago, Jeff. It's a long thing to remember. The Peacock.
But yeah, I just saw that stat on how a team that finished last has never been underdog by so few points throughout the year in league history.
Houston for the coin and myself, Cleveland for the two of you. The Peacock streaming game of the week, the Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 4-point favorites at home. 44 is the over-under currently at DraftKingsSportsbook.com. I'm doing Davis's show this week, Tim, and he's a Chiefs fan. He lives in Kansas City. What do you think the temperature on the Chiefs is as a Chiefs fan? Like, do people think that I would assume the Chiefs fans don't think that they're going to win the Super Bowl, but just to look at the AFC, it's probably like, yeah, they could come out of the AFC. Why not?
I think that's exactly the temperature.
Yeah, I think it's like some Patriot fans could probably relate. There were years where they weren't the best. Had there been better teams in the division, maybe they don't win it. But now the playoffs begin. They get a home game to start it. And it doesn't matter who they play. They make the case that they have the best player on the field in any game they'll ever play. And it has to give them some confidence. Like I believe like a Patriot fan can really relate to what a Chief fan could be feeling after this season, but us plebes can't. And they're so spoiled in Kansas City that, you know, I don't think they'd be shocked. Like they know this team isn't as good as the last ones, and I'm sure they'd be ready to take a hot dump on it if they get embarrassed on Saturday, but I don't know. They still got the best player. Yeah, I still think the AFC's theirs for the taking.
As long as you have 15 under center, you're going to be in just about every game, right?
And this game has a temperature that is on the borderline of making a difference, I believe.
I agree.
Yeah, Tua plays terribly in the cold.
Yeah, but I think that just where the lack of offense has come into play for the Chiefs all season long, and their pass defense has been really good. I just think there's going to be a lot of running in this game. I actually like this game to be a Feinberg. I think Kansas City wins by 3, so I'm going to take Miami +4 in this spot. I just think this is a fast game. Probably not as fast. What was the game that we watched this weekend? It was Jets. Was it Jets Patriots, Tim? Or no, it was Tampa Bay Carolina.
No, it was not.
Tampa Carolina was a bullet. Yeah, flew by.
Yeah.
It was the second fastest game of the 2000s behind some Week 17 game in 2008 with the Titans and Jags or something like that. I don't think it's going to be that fast, obviously, but I just see a lot of running in this game, especially from the Dolphins. But we also don't know who's going to be playing for the Dolphins at the same time either. I would expect Waddle to be back. No idea how healthy he is. I would expect Mostert to be back. No idea how healthy he is. But in a game like this where the total is 44, maybe I'm dead wrong and it goes way over that number, but if the game plays to way under that number, I think it not that it favors Miami, but I think it gives Miami more of a chance because they have a Mostert, a Hill, a Waddle, and A-Chain who can just take the ball, make one guy miss, and go 90 yards. And there's really no one on Kansas City who can do that. It's reminiscent of me of, and I know they ended up losing this game, was the Dolphins-Colts game, that Monday Night Football one, when the Colts possessed the ball, Tim, for like 5 minutes of the game, but still won because they just scored like 80-yard touchdowns every time that they touch the ball. I could see with the Dolphins score, they score on huge plays in this game, and that becomes tricky for Kansas City to come back in.
Dolphins don't score. Dolphins have not been a good offense in half of a season. What are people talking about? They scored no points in the second half against a terrible Buffalo defense. They scored 14 points against this Chiefs team when they played the last time. They scored 22 points against Dallas because they kicked a million field goals. Like, this team doesn't score. All their best players are hurt on offense. Their quarterback is bad in the cold and throws terribly crippling interceptions. This game is a wrap. The Chiefs basically got a bye week without having to go on bye.
Oh no.
This game is a wrap.
Oh God.
A complete
I
and
was
utter wrap.
undecided.
To
I'm
ask the
picking- I'm
Dolphins to
taking
go
Miami.
into the freezing cold on the road with a season which is leaking oil in every direction, and to beat Mahomes, who's never lost a home playoff game against anyone other than Bill Belichick and Joe Burrow. Like, the Dolphins don't have that pedigree. They don't have that talent. Mike McDaniel's going to have to wear a full pair of pants for a change, which I'm sure will annoy him. He won't be able to wear his capri pants on the sidelines in minus 6 degree Fahrenheit weather. Everything is conspiring against the Dolphins in this one. There isn't freer money on the board than Chiefs -4.
So people could pay for their Peacock subscription by betting the Chiefs?
You could go take part in any number of Taylor Swift's Era Tours tournaments or concerts if you'd like, because this is just this game's an ATM. It's the last chance you're going to get to bet against this Dolphins team, so you should take full advantage. The bad offense, the defense is incredibly hurt. The offense, when healthy, is great, but again, Hill drops every other pass because he's hurt. Goodness knows what Waddle has. Goodness knows what Mostert has. And we've seen Tua play in cold weather, and the answer time and time and time again is bad performances. So, yeah, the Dolphins will probably start running effectively in this game, but Mike McDaniel has no discipline. We saw it on Sunday night, and he'll start throwing the ball, controlling the game on the ground, and his team will lose. He did this last year in critical games against the Bills in both the regular season and playoffs. He's did it again last week. He's going to do it this week. He can't help himself. Even when his team is running the ball effectively, he gets it into his head that he should throw the ball, and it's a bad decision when you haven't got a healthy team. The Dolphins could very well get shut out in this game. It wouldn't shock me in the least. I think the Dolphins are done for. DONE, done. And you can play this back next week if I'm wrong, then I won't be.
Bye.
He really wants the Dolphins out of the playoffs, Jeff.
Yeah, I was torn on this
Bye
one.
bye. See you next year.
Do that again?
Bye bye. You know what I said. See you next year.
I was torn.
You're done.
I was torn.
Goodbye.
I might have even picked Kansas City, even though I did see this playing out like Pat said. Probably Chiefs win a fun one, tight one.
I don't. Whoa!
After
Hold on. I never said it was going to be a fun game. This reeks of the opposite of a fun game.
Sorry, fun, maybe a fit, like whatever, and a close finish. Sorry, I didn't mean to phrase it like that. But after hearing Tim's rant, like, I'm just blindly taking Miami. I think I have to. If Tim's right, he can make fun of his father.
Yeah, what's Doug's temperature on this game, Tim?
Doug is just very sad that this team had great potential and that everyone is hurt and they're not performing. And I said to him, well, don't worry. You only got a week left.
And that's a vibe that I got from Garrion on Sunday night, too. The same vibe. Just,
yeah.
He was excited about the season. He, like, as even Garrion said, he's like, I have no like kind of idea that they're going to win the Super Bowl, but just to win a playoff game would be really nice. And then they drew the Chiefs.
But hey, beating Mahomes, beating the Chiefs, like, that would flip everything. It would put Tim into a pretzel. I do feel bad for Dolphins.
Then they would go to Baltimore and lose by 400 points like they did 2 weeks ago.
They have lost a high-end player, it feels like, every week for the last 9 weeks. Players that
You're
aren't
right.
back
Only the Dolphins lose players. Yeah,
not
right.
only.
This only happens to Miami. We have to make a big deal about it.
No, and I don't have sympathy because, they're always looking to come from my head.
Sympathetic for their injuries. Like, yeah, every team gets hurt. Too bad. Move on.
Okay, but
Goodbye.
they're wearing it hard. They're wearing it hard.
Well,
they're wearing
bad.
it.
Too bad.
Tim, I agree. Injuries in football, it's hard to sympathize for. They're at a level where, like, it's okay to maybe sympathize a little bit. I get that you will have none of that, but I'll tell you what. You're watching this game for the division on Sunday night. And even the day he left, I thanked him. I thanked him because this man put his body, put his life on the line, right, for the Chargers. I love Melvin Ingram. He played a role for the Chargers. It felt like a decade ago. but you see this wide load on the field, and you're like, who the fuck is that? That guy is a brick shithouse. He's not supposed to be running with young athletic tight ends. He wasn't in coverage a decade ago. You know what? Do you know what off the couch free agent looks like in week 17? It looks like that guy, fat as fuck. And that's not like, you might think I'm being mean or that's an insult. That's just like, you want like off the street free agent in week 8, you get Kyle Van Noy, little better condition. You want off the street free agent in week 17 because someone else gets hurt? That's what it looks like. It is not a fun scene. So I sympathize for the Dolphins that they got to run that out there right now.
It's on.
I'm not playing a violin over here for them.
Well, should we talk about the Peacock aspect of this game? A thing that does not affect the three of us, because in Canada it will just be on regular TV. But when NBC made this deal, this is exactly what they wanted. And like, it's like people don't understand economics at all. Like, this is how you get people to sign up for Peacock. This is exactly it. When the Notre Dame game was Peacock only, Tim, it got a bunch of Notre Dame fans from around the country to sign up for Peacock for the $5 a month. That's all that this is going to do, but on a larger scale.
Yep. All the people who want to see Taylor Swift are going to have to spend $5 to see her.
You know,
don't you get a month free?
Probably.
I don't know.
But maybe you already signed up. Hey, you could watch the new TED show.
Like, it's smart economics as long as like you put on a good show and people aren't furious at your product.
It is smart economics.
It does have a potential downside, but it's worth the risk.
Well, I mean, the downside is they're going to have basically the Sunday Night Football team doing it, or at least the B team doing it. And it's not like they haven't done streaming before on this platform, because they've done it with some college football games in the past. So, and they did it. They had the Black Friday game, right? And that went off without a hitch. There was
Amazon
had it.
Black Friday.
You're right. But they've done Notre Dame.
Just make sure
right?
that your platform can handle the huge influx that you're going to get in terms of people trying to sign up. Making sure that your signing up capacity functions. You can have no tech problems. There's zero margin for tech problems. Zero.
But there were no reports of tech problems. I granted it'll probably be a bigger audience, but much bigger audience, and people trying to sign up all at once at the last minute.
Yeah,
maybe
Tim's right. Making sure you have the server bandwidth to accommodate everything, and making it as easy as possible for maybe the Tims of the world who want to watch this game and aren't super sharp at setting up new OTT platforms on their TVs, to make that as seamless as possible for people. Like, that's a really big part of this. Yep. Jeff, are you watching something on your phone right now?
No.
Oh, I can hear something in the background of one of you guys. And I assume since Tim Mike keeps cutting out, it's not him.
I can promise you it's not me.
No, absolutely
definitely
not,
Jeff
not
watching
me.
You porn while he's doing the show or something.
Nope.
Anyway, if you don't have Peacock right now and you do want to buy it to watch this game, I suggest you do it right now and don't wait until Saturday night to do it, in case that there is a sign-up problem, because then you'll already have your login. You can just log in and boom, you're good to go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's like 101 stuff. Even before, like on the Super Bowl afternoon, like I always encourage, like you try to make a bet, log in, make a deposit at like 5:00 on a Saturday. Those books, like, they're moving as slow as shit on that traffic. I'm not worried about NBC or Peacock being able to handle the audience that they're going to get for this. I don't think it's all positive. Like, I think there is some potential negatives to doing something like this, but I think anyone watching is aware that this is the future. More of this is coming. The entire league could at some point be like a total pay as you go. But as Canadians, we are so spoiled. This stuff is so foreign to us. Well, we're treated like we live in Siberia, when Buffalo is literally like 75 minutes that way. But they treat like mailing something to me like I live in Siberia. Our grocery stores feel like one of us are in a completely different planet. But when it comes to like sports content, we are so spoiled. I joked with you guys, like being in California a week ago, when they say America's game of the week, like that has a true meaning, because it's the only game these people get on TV unless you have Sunday Ticket. Like, you watch regular cable in the States on a Sunday, and you get one game, maybe two. There are times where you're getting 5 or 6 games on regular cable here in Canada, where you think like buying Sunday ticket almost feels like there's no purpose of it. You just can play the cable lottery. But yeah, so people in Canada, we got nothing to worry about. We'll get our same TSN nonsense. I do sympathize with people in the States, though. It seems really annoying, but just prepare yourself, because I think the whole league is going to be pay as you go. I remember John Skipper, former president of ESPN, many years ago said he believes one day the Super Bowl could be pay-per-view.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. I don't think that'll be in our lifetime, but I definitely could see it happening.
I could see them testing the waters within the next 5 years of having a pay-per-view broadcast. Like, it would still be on Fox, whatever it is, as the free one, but you can have a specialty pay-per-view broadcast if you wanted to.
Yeah, next
and the
year
game
NBC
isn't on
has the Super
Peacock
Bowl.
in the local markets, by the way.
What's that?
No, of course not.
Yeah, it's still on in the local markets, but that's not the majority of people. I mean, the majority of people in terms of market share who are watching this game. I mean, fuck, Miami probably is not even one of the top cities watching the Dolphins because they don't give a shit. But Kansas City, like 98% of people are actually, what was it? It was the London game or the Munich game that had like had a higher share than the Super Bowl because of the timing that it was on in the morning. And there was just no competition for it with anything. No bedtime. People were just up and be like, Chiefs are on. Let's check it on. So it'll be good for their local market. For everyone else, I mean, it's not. And here's the sneaky thing, though. And what I think is a good position for Peacock if they get people to sign up. Peacock's pretty good in terms of a streaming service. It's one of the better ones. It has a good back catalog. And you can have like all the WWF shit on it too, can't you, Jeff?
Yeah, so I guess all the wrestling fans have nothing to worry about, because I feel like if you're you're already through Peacock if you are a WWE Network subscriber.
I like that strategy better because I mean, Netflix has kind of taken over, and it's funny that Netflix is the one that isn't into live sports, but at least they're going after valuable properties that people will pay money to watch. The NFL, Notre Dame, WWF. Like Paramount Plus is the exact opposite. Like I got it because I like Star Trek, but that's, it's not the NFL. Like Paramount Plus just seems to exist in this weird like off reality, and CBS doesn't even really care about it. It's really strange. Versus Peacock, which is like, hey, we're going to spend money for these big tier events to get people to sign up. Like Apple TV has like 3 prestige shows, which are all terrible, and the MLS and like 2 baseball games or something. Like that doesn't seem like a sound strategy to me.
Yeah, but they could also just be like testing their infrastructure. They're all about to make big plays though, right? Like as these next TV deals come up, you got to figure these streaming services are going to play even a bigger role. And I'm one of these losers. I'm signed up to so many things. I don't know. I need to do like a whole inventory check.
I mean, there is a app out there that I think that if you like plug in, I don't know how it works. I assume you like have to plug in your credit card and it would like tell you like what you're actually signed up for and what you aren't. I don't know exactly how it works. Maybe it's your email that does it. I've heard them as podcast sponsors. If they want to sponsor the show, Jeff, I'll get that for you, but only if they sponsor the show.
And credit to, I mean, they're methodical in this. I mean, it was Taylor Swift to the Peacock and all the eyeballs that's a part of. I don't know. The numbers are still going to be phenomenal. It's like crack. Like there's no way you can hold out. There's no way you can hold out. A Mahomes playoff game?
That's what
I don't know. Go out for dinner. Try to go to.
What do you do if you run a sports bar and you're in Minneapolis? How do you show that game on your TVs?
I think sports bars have a whole separate.
Can you? I don't know. Like, you can't just really throw Peacock on your TV screen there the same way. If you have like 12 TVs, I don't know that you can you?
What do you mean?
Like
he's saying, would you need like 6 Peacock accounts? Because maybe it only like limits.
Yeah,
how
I'm not so sure. Yeah, I'm not so sure that would work.
I honestly don't. Maybe there's a corporate Peacock account.
That's what I was going to say. There's probably
Yeah, I
separate.
hope so.
If someone, I mean,
And it's not even
or
corporate Peacock.
but-
It's probably corporate NFL Game Pass that has primetime games for bars and stuff.
maybe that's the case. Or if you're a sports bar that has 20 TVs, you spend the $5 per TV and put it on all the TVs. You're making your money back.
Yeah, maybe you do. Maybe you don't have a choice.
And then you can run Friends episodes in the background with no sound on when no one else is around.
But I'm excited
Plus,
for Saturday.
this game's gonna be a wrap by halftime anyway. So
That's
I'm getting together with real humans. Like, we're excited to watch this game.
Yeah, I'm actually getting together with friends this weekend too to watch this game.
really,
Yeah, I am.
You weren't invited.
no,
It's a-
evidently.
It's a kids thing. Kids, wives, it's like 4 of us. Anyway.
Fair enough.
Pittsburgh at Buffalo is the next game early on Sunday. Buffalo is now a 10-point favorite with the news that TJ Watt is yet going to play in this game. 36.5 is the total. Pittsburgh is 1-10 without TJ Watt. Straight up, they are 4-6-1 against the spread without him in those games. I still like Pittsburgh to cover the number. The Bills will find some way to make this a stupidly close game. I think the Bills win, but I do not think they cover the 10 points, Tim.
I agree with you. Josh Allen has done everything he could the last few weeks to try to cost his team games, and they win despite his moronic play decision making. They've just sort of fell backwards, fortunately, into wins the last 3 weeks when they had no right to win any of them. This is another situation. They will win the game. It'll be close. They'll have to overcome his.
Where do you rank Josh Allen? Where do you rank him?
Let him talk, Jeff.
I don't know. I mean, am I saying anything that isn't true?
Yes.
Paul will agree
Where
with
do you
what I
rank
just said.
him?
I don't know. 9th,
I
10th,
wouldn't.
something
Give
like
me
that.
9 or 10. You can't vote for me, anybody.
Like you must have
mean,
slept through that game. Like you must not have watched that game.
he makes
They should have
plays.
won that game by
He
20
makes plays.
despite his mistakes, but like they absolutely crushed the Dolphins. Like, that should have been.
But
They should have won that game by 20.
But they were all his mistakes.
QB 9
But they
or
didn't
10.
because of all of his. I mean,
But
look,
they still
I
won
was the one here who said
despite
with-
all of the mistakes.
Who's QB 6, 7, 8, 9? Like what? What?
I mean, like the guy. I'm 2 years ago when Lamar and Allen played each other, and I said you definitely would rather have Lamar. I was proven right, and you all laughed at me. I was proven right. Lamar's about doing his second MVP and to be a slam dunk guaranteed Hall of Famer. Josh Allen has won nothing.
You could argue Josh Allen should be getting set that like he should be the runner-up in this.
Runner up means
So
nothing.
you're turning this into Lamar and Allen. That is not fair. I'm asking you who quarterback 5, 6, 7, and 8 is. If Lamar's 1 or 2,
Well, he has Aaron.
I would rather have your guy. I'd rather have your guy.
dude.
I would.
Josh Allen, that 3rd and 14 conversion. I don't even think Patrick Mahomes can make that, and that's
The
not even
conversion
an
that they
insult.
didn't need because of the holding penalty.
The 3rd and 14 conversion that they didn't need.
No, it was already a first down.
Mahomes is the only other player on earth who I think could do it, but I'm actually of the belief that when Christian Wilkins would have gotten his hands on Mahomes, he would have gone more off balance than Allen did and would have fallen short of those sticks.
Would Mahomes have thrown mindless interception after mindless interception and let Wilkins?
I'm not
put
saying
the ball
Allen
in
is
his
better than
hands or-
Mahomes, but dude,
he
can't-
hasn't played
no,
well
no,
the
no,
last
no.
few weeks. He
he
hasn't
makes
played well.
plays. He's so good that you almost have to accept the shit. You almost have to accept the silliness. It's like a golfer who will miss a 4-footer, but he's going to come back on the 550-yard par 4 and stick it to 4 feet. Well, everyone's playing it like 1.5 strokes over par.
So basically,
does.
if the Bills win the Super Bowl this year and Josh Allen wins the Super Bowl MVP, we can just make the comp because he can't do it right now. That Josh Allen is Scotty Scheffler. Scotty got his one major and putts and
Scotty Scheffler's won something.
Well, that's why.
No, but
did you hear? Did you hear? Were you listening to me when I said in the preamble to that?
I thought you said right now he's Scotty Scheffler.
And
So
when
you
he
so
wins
so
the
so the
Super
answer
Bowl.
is no. You didn't listen.
This was a first down.
You know,
This was a first
It was
down.
already it was already
This
a
was
first
a
down by that
first
point because the
down.
Dolphins had committed a penalty.
You're
Already a
moron.
first down.
Tim,
Calm yourself.
It's
Calm
so
yourself.
it's like, you know what? When people say Tua's like the worst, like that's bullshit. That's not fair. That is wrong. Like when I don't understand what you watch to be taking this away from Josh Allen. You can make all your videos and all your memes and think you're making ground, but not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell.
If you think he played well on Sunday night? Do you think the Bills won because Josh Allen played well? Is that your analysis of that game?
Josh
That game
Allen
was a
made
7-point
mistakes.
game
He
because Josh
overcame
Allen
them.
was awful in that game. That game should have been a rout. If Josh Allen had just played middle of the road quarterbacking in that game, they would have won by 3 touchdowns. They would have won by 24. His poor play meant they only won by 7. That's not an opinion. That's fact. He played terribly. He played terribly against the Patriots. He played terribly against the Chargers.
Well, who are you taking, Jeff?
Then there's nothing I can do about that.
I'm going to take Buffalo.
You know, when we're mentioning this to you, it's not a personal attack on you. Do you understand that? We're just letting you know that this is what's happening. So you're, I understand.
Nothing I can do about it.
I'm actually using it to troll him a little bit at this point because he's talking smack about my quarterback. Is what it is.
No, but there's smack. There is like fair criticism of Josh Allen. There are fair things that need to be worked out that are fair to take shots at him for. When you come on and you want credit for your authority on some things, but then you want to say that Josh Allen's the 9th or 10th best quarterback in the league, it's like over. Like you can't even have there's no reasonable discourse to have at that point.
So are you saying that Brock Purdy is better than Josh Allen?
No, I don't think he is.
I'm trying to think of who the answer
look at
would
this
be.
Weekend,
I would
rather have Dak. I would rather have.
Would you rather have Trevor Lawrence?
I would rather have Hurts this weekend. I would rather have Mahomes this weekend. I would probably rather have Stroud at this point.
Stroud, the guy that you don't trust in this game. Stroud in this game that you don't trust him in
his first ever playoff game against a very good defense. Tough to trust somebody in that spot. Will he do what Josh Allen did in his first playoff game, which is throw the ball backwards to the opponent? No, probably not. But and that's just this weekend. I certainly would prefer Lamar. Then that doesn't even count Jeff's quarterback. That doesn't. I'm just saying this. You can
Why would you
Josh
prefer
Allen
Justin Herbert to Josh Allen?
Because I think Justin Herbert makes all the throws.
And B, there's only one thing. Unless you're
interceptions.
strictly basing it on turnover-worthy throws, there's nothing else there. And I love Herbert. The only stat that I could be like, okay, I guess Herbert might be better, is like that turnover-worthy throw stat that Herbert's like 1 or 2 in the league. But truth be told, Herbert probably should be a little more reckless and trust his arm in a way Josh Allen does sometimes.
No, I didn't mention Burrow either. Burrow's obviously better than him. There's just the list continues to grow.
It doesn't grow. The list makes you look stupid.
If you think so. You also thought that Allen was clearly better than Lamar and said so emphatically. You were dead wrong.
No, I'm not dead wrong. They're probably one ranking spot away from each other.
Yeah, I would be curious.
That's an asinine thing to say.
I would be dead wrong.
I would be curious if you ran it again today with Lamar being the MVP and Josh Allen being where he is right now, like the poll that we ran. Who would you rather build your team around starting today, Lamar or Josh Allen? I still think Josh Allen might win.
But even if Lamar is number 1, if you want to put Lamar ahead of Mahomes,
Lamar's not ahead of Mahomes. Mahomes is number 1.
No.
Okay.
No. Of course he is.
Okay, so let's say you say Lamar is number 2. And let's say like a reasonable person who still might not even think Josh Allen is number 3 says Josh Allen is number 4. That doesn't mean you're dead wrong. Dead wrong would be if Allen sucked. I'm not dead wrong. They're one ranking spot on probably everyone's rankings apart.
Okay, well.
I'm sorry, Jeff, that I don't share your opinion. I apologize that my opinion isn't your opinion.
No. Your opinion
I'll work on that. I'll work on that.
No, okay. Again, you're right to your opinion, but your opinion is so off base where it just feels like, how do you do it? You said he's QB 9 or 10.
I know what I said.
Yeah, I mean, Tim gave us
my mic may be broken, but my ear.
Oh, yeah, I lost my earpiece. That was amazing. You couldn't produce that better, Paul.
Nailed it.
Tim, that was good on your part. I must say. Is Tim a secret
Thank you.
producer? Is this a bit, Paul, and he's like a master producer? Because that was impeccable timing.
I
He's
wish.
coming for my job.
Yeah, that was impeccable timing on that. Well, that brings us to the midway point of the show, which leads us to a mini version of Cuss Corner.
Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cuss Corner, it's Cuss Corner. Cuss Corner,
Well, we teased the people last week. We have to talk about tipping. It's becoming an epidemic in certain circumstances. Let's take off the table tipping at a served restaurant where tips are expected. It's standard procedure. You tip for service. Let's take that off the table. Of course, that needs to happen. The culture of tipping to the point where I'm expected in the Starbucks lineup to tip because it's the default on my screen is such an uncomfortable circumstance. Because I know when I click no, they remember me. And they know that I'm the person who doesn't tip. And go to Starbucks sometimes because I don't want to deal with the social awkwardness and the anxiety that is produced. And I'm not the only one. As Pat and I have been discovering, there's a whole cadre of people who feel exactly the way that I do, which is that this forced tipping, particularly at fast food or fast service places, or even on pickup, when I go pick up food, where I'm still expected to tip, is causing such anxiety that if you just go to I just go to the places now that I know. You know, Burger King is not going to ask me for a tip. That's a safe haven. Tim Hortons is not going to ask me for a tip.
But you do, but you do tip at Tim Hortons.
If I have change left over from my purchase, they can have it. Yes. Yeah. That's not the same as having the prompt on the screen for your card to say, to a default tip. And then have to click no and know that the person there who you're giving the machine back to knows that you decided to go out of your way to click no causes such a socially awkward moment there that you're like, I just don't need this. I'm a customer patronizing a store. I don't need to feel sentiments of shame and anxiety and worry and stress and regret. Just that at McDonald's. They don't do that at Subway. They don't do that. Well, actually, they do now at Subway. That's a problem too. I feel like I need to go to the bastions that I am safe with these things. Or, you go to a served restaurant where you expect to tip because that person is giving you service in person. That's the name of the game. But it's become a complete and utter terrifying procedure to go to some fast service places where the tip is expected.
Okay, so I have a few comments on this, but Jeff, I wanted to ask you, do you notice the same thing where you live? Just yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. It was a yes or no question. So yes. And I assume this is pretty universal across North America. If anybody's watching outside of North America, they literally have no idea what we're talking about, I assume. But one, it's a very main character type of thing to think that someone who serves like 1,000 people a day is going to remember you, the guy who clicked no, when I'm guessing 95% of people select no on that. Two, you are correct. There are people out there who are suffering from the same as you. They don't like the anxiety of it. Like you said, by tipping no, it makes you feel bad that they feel bad at the same time. But I would guess that most of the population, Jeff, clicks no with no problem like I do.
Yeah, I don't really feel much shame.
Just no.
Like clicking
I don't want to
no
do this
on like an irrelevant purchase. But then I don't know. There's just so much confusion on like what is like the hairdresser I tip. Does that mean like the dog groomer I'm supposed to tip too? I think I do.
Yeah, I tip my barber.
It's out of control. I don't know who to tip, who not to tip, when to tip. And the idea that you should just always tip, I don't agree with that either. It's just
Well,
really
hold on. Well,
distressing.
can you expand on that one?
What do you mean?
You said you
Like,
don't
I
always
don't
have
know
to
when
tip.
to tip.
Yeah, but you say you don't always have to tip. What do you mean? Like, who are you not tipping? Like when you go to a restaurant that you don't have to tip? You kind of have to.
Oh, no,
That's
at
like
a
part of the deal.
restaurant. Oh, no, at a restaurant. No, restaurant you do.
Yeah.
But Jeff was talking about like services that people render.
I know. I think a lot of it is just
dry cleaning. Should I tip the dry cleaner?
No.
I think no.
Or
But like, how is that any different than tipping the hairdresser, who I would tip?
I think
They're both
that's
providing a service for me.
well, I think that there's a social aspect of the tipping consideration that goes into it. Like everyone I know, Jeff, tips a barber. I tip my barber after my cut. But you're also having that 20 minutes with the person where, I mean, I don't like to talk when I get my haircut. I would, in fact, prefer not to talk when I get my haircut. It's just nice to sit there and not just look into the mirror, think about something, do whatever. But sometimes you end up chatting with the barber for a little while. Like that is a social interaction, much like when you sit down at a restaurant. Yes, people are taking your food order. They're going back. They're giving it to you. You want to make sure that that's good and everything like that. But you also have that social aspect. So maybe that is one way that you can try to separate it. Is there a social aspect, Tim, that goes into it?
No,
Well, I
because
don't know.
it's
You're
strictly
expected to tip
service
your
based.
person, but you're supposed to tip the person at the hotel you never see who makes up your room.
I mean, I would wager that less than half of people actually do that. That'd be my
Oh, but you're
ballpark.
supposed to.
But who says you're supposed to?
Well, it's a social convention.
I do, but I bet you the people don't. You can get away with that one pretty easily.
Oh, you can get away with it because there's no actual social interaction there.
Sure, but
My
But it's still
favorite
one that's
tip-
expected. But it's expected.
My favorite tip, like I do it with pride. Like I even make sure I have it and I have it ready. It's almost like your hands are going to be filled. But nowadays you get to the airport and you like take the shuttle to the rent-a-car place and it's the guy who drives the shuttle and he is literally helping or doing all of like my family of 5, like loading and
I'm
unloading
supposed
the
to
bags.
tip that guy? See,
What?
Like,
yeah, the guy who
I'm supposed
takes
to tip that guy?
Wait, are you supposed? Of course, if he's gonna touch like 5 pieces of luggage, he's gonna get tipped.
yeah, of course, yeah. The guy, if anyone's
If
like,
you are
like
Tim,
movers, like do you?
But if you're just got your one bag, you carry it on and off yourself. Like you don't have to tip
You,
them.
you tip movers, but if you buy your furniture at a furniture store and they
come and deliver?
bring the couch to your
Yeah, you probably would.
yeah, I tip,
Probably
like
would.
I got a new fridge
tip
like
the
2.
delivery people?
Yeah, I got a new fridge like 2 months ago. I tipped the delivery guys. That looked
But
awful.
am I supposed to tip the guy like when I got my winter tires put on? Am I supposed to tip that guy? Like, I don't know.
See, I don't. I don't. I mean, I go to the dealership because it's all a part of like. a
yeah, I
thing that
know. I
pay
feel
for.
like I'm paying.
But don't you
like,
see
a
how
nice
crazy
wage
this all
for the
is?
labor.
Yeah, but
This is all
I
crazy.
wouldn't tip my mechanic anyway. But that's me. Maybe I'm
No,
in the
but this is
wrong
the
on
point,
that.
is that
But I feel
There's a whole
comfortable.
web of
I
confusion here.
feel comfortable picking and choosing what I think I should tip for, and I have to live with that. And I think most people do that. They don't care what the other people think.
some
I
feel
agree.
incredibly anxious
And you're right.
full of shame.
I think Tim is in the super minority. Like, yes, it's annoying and awkward, but I think most people are like Pat, and I'm closer to Pat, where I just hit like no.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll hit it with like a sense of satisfaction, like fuck no.
See, I
Like,
don't.
where are we? Look where we are.
I don't even have
7-Eleven?
that. That's just a part of it. It's just like when the grocery store is like, hey, do you want to add an extra $3 to this to donate to something that we're gonna get a tax write off for? It's like, you fucking donate your own goddamn money. All you do is print cash. Don't take any more money from me. I'm not gonna do that. Like things like that. Like I'm just
I say
okay
no
with
to that too.
Yeah, I just say, but why is that any different than tipping?
Because that's not money that you're saying no to the person who's serving you at that moment.
Yeah, but here's how you need to think about it as it pertains to where we live, because this is what we found out over the course of like the past 3 weeks. It is not illegal here. Like you think that you're tipping the person working behind the counter at Subway when you're leaving a tip, but the legislation of the place where we live means the owner can take all of that money, and in fact, the owners do take most of that money from most of the businesses that are around. So it's not even going to the person anyway. So you should feel no shame in it.
But you know where you should tip? Let's say you're hungry, it's late, and this place you like you know it's about to close, but you want to get up in there and you decide you're going to eat in. Once you've decided, you know what, I'm going to eat in here, even though it's maybe a faster food establishment, I would tip.
Yeah, but Tim doesn't need to do that anymore because Paul got him that thing for his car where he can eat.
Can I
I
say
used it yesterday.
You used it yesterday? How was it?
I predict
Yeah,
you're
I
going
used
to
it
have a
yesterday.
disaster.
How?
He's going to
Yeah,
get
see, I'm
tangled
afraid of
in
this.
that thing.
Yeah.
One of the elastics is going to like push too
Oh.
hard, and he's going to screw it up.
Oh, you mean the little tray thing? Oh, I don't think so. I used it yesterday to quite effect, and it was a messy thing to eat. It was a turkey breast sub from Subway. With lettuce going everywhere, and like
Why
I
didn't
had
you
I
take
had
a
it all set up.
picture?
Why would I take a picture of what
Just
I'm
to
about to
show
eat?
Paul. You know, when people get my kids like a gift, a baby gift, and it's like a shirt, don't you send that person like a picture of like the kid in the shirt?
Yes.
Isn't that etiquette?
No, doesn't that seem like forced and put on?
No, it's like, hey,
No,
thank you
it's
for the gift. They're
natural.
wearing
I'm
it.
here.
Yeah.
Turkey sub. Look, Paul, I pulled over. Got a turkey sub. This gift was great.
If it makes you feel better, Tim, like I don't give a fuck about watching or seeing you eat a turkey sub from Subway. So
No, it never occurred to
fine.
me that I needed to show Paul me using the
I
gift.
would like to, I don't know, a turkey sub? Why can't you just sit inside? I don't know. Maybe
No,
I
I
am
don't wanna do that.
particular about this. That seems like even the bread, there's so much like crumbs.
It all goes on this little thing now.
Seems pretty handy.
And then the meal's over, you open your window and you like you litter. The
No, of
crumbs
course not. It all
outside?
goes into the bag. It all goes into the bag that the sub came in.
I don't.
That really thin bag?
Yeah, I
Well,
was
they're
gonna
actually
say,
pretty
this
thick
doesn't make
paper. It's actually pretty.
sense.
No. It's paper now. It's not plastic.
Oh, yeah, I guess
They
that
come
would.
in like this white sort of papery bag, like most fast food places, and you just pour it into there, and then you crumple it up, and then you dispose of it at the next receptacle.
Okay. Well, I would say that in conclusion, where we have no conclusion on any of this, that if you don't feel like doing it at places where you're like iffy about it, where you wouldn't conventionally think that you have to do it, don't feel forced that you have to do it. Paul, yes.
I need to say something else about it.
All right. Well, Paul wants to speak.
Oh, so
to
Paul,
what
go first. Sorry, Paul. I didn't know that.
my conclusion is that Tim's just cheap.
No, see, this is what I didn't want to be accused of. It's not.
No, you
cheapness.
are. You worry about like every little bit of money along
You
the
are
way
cheap.
about a lot of these things. I think you're
You are
just kinda
cheap because even at the places that you acknowledge you're supposed to tip at, you tip cheap.
That's what you say. I think I tip fairly.
You tip like 1989 numbers.
Yeah, but you know what?
I tip.
If people are, because some of the defaults that they give you now are like the minimum you can tip is like 18%. I'm still good with 15%. I'm fine with it. That's a decision that I have made
Oftentimes,
for
yeah.
myself.
fast food.
You
and
would
stuff
like go to a nut. You wouldn't tip 15% for good service. You might tip 15
For good, listen.
When I
If
get, like,
if the service is better, I will tip more. If the service is like whatever, my default will be 15%. I will go in on the machine and change it to 15% if that's not one of the options.
Okay.
Do I have to tip on if I use a gift card? Do I have to tip?
Yes.
That's probably a good time to tip because you're not actually using any of your own money. That would be
So,
a nice.
Can I
and
s-
then what do you? Here's a question: what do you tip on? The total amount of the bill, or the total amount after the gift card you use?
see this. Thank you for this lead in. This was a debate we had in our place because, as a lot of people know, other than Tim, me and Pizzola joke about it all the time doing some of these late night football streams. We're hungry and we're a sucker for these like buy one, get one free Uber Eats offers. And then, but the bill, they want you to tip on like not including the discount. You know what I mean? And like we had this debate on like, yes, you're getting a sale price, but are you supposed to tip on the full price? Like, what's going on here?
I have a standard amount for delivery. Okay, but my bill of what I order has nothing to do with what I tip a delivery driver. I have a set amount of what I'm going to tip on Uber for someone to come deliver my food or DoorDash, whatever it is, and I just punch that in every time.
I guess because you're just like it's
But you
one.
told me
bag
in
of
that
food.
snowstorm I had to like tip
Well,
50%
yeah,
or something.
that is a different scenario. I'm asking someone to come when like cars aren't supposed to be on the road to deliver me food. I also probably wouldn't order in that circumstance out. I'd probably just cook something at home at that point. So that's not really a situation I get into a lot. But realistically, as a delivery driver, there's no difference than if I order a coffee from Starbucks or I order 4 things from a restaurant. It's the same process.
Okay, I need to embarrass myself in the opposite way of shame. And I think Tim will relate to this because he loves credit. When I go to the places that I tip,
You give
like
you
my
give
mom
them
and
tips.
pop. No, when my mom and pop like burger place where it's like it's cash only and they have like the jar on the thing. It's almost like I will only drop in like the change and the coins and make that noise like when they're paying attention and looking. Like I need the credit. When I like give a nice
Your
tip,
Costanza.
I want to be acknowledged. Like, hey guys, like, hey, how's it going? And like dip it. Thanks for the and I, make sure it. I don't know. You give a nice tip.
That's
like,
awful. That's
no.
awful, by the way.
No, it's so subconscious. It's just like almost bang the coins into the thing. Like
The purpose of this tip is for you to see how much I'm giving you for this tip.
but these are at the okay, but there's something that I need to clarify with this. These are at the places that like I frequent a lot. And there is the camaraderie. So I always just want it like recognized like, yep, he's good for like I don't want them to miss that I'm always playing my part. I don't know.
That
That's
reminds me
weird.
of what did T.S. Eliot say? The last act is the greatest treason, to do the right deed for the wrong reason. That's what you're doing.
No, I'm not doing it for the wrong reason because I like supporting and I'm happy to support. I just
No, you like to be seen supporting.
No, I want it. I don't need to be seen. I just want it to be known.
Jeff's not an anonymous donor. If Jeff were to build a wing on a hospital, it certainly wouldn't be from anonymous
I'm
donor.
not.
It would
Yeah,
be
yeah. You know what?
Free Feinberg Esquire.
No, you can't. When you anonymous donor cheat, I don't like that. I don't like that. And I could get off into a different tangent right now and maybe embarrass myself. But speaking of places that frequent regular customers, I appreciate my boys over at the local Domino's because I made an order the other day on the app and I like to whiz over there. I was already out, the pickup, easy peasy. They know me. They know how I like it. Beautiful. I couldn't get there. This is like 6 minutes from my house. I couldn't get there. Okay? Now let me make this pretty clear. I couldn't fathom not being able to get somewhere like an airplane because of a protest. Because I couldn't even pick up my pizza because they were protesting on the street. So I was like, these people, they have no right to prevent me from my pizza. So imagine if that happened and you missed your flight. Anyhow, next time I went in, I let my boy know. Yeah, that pizza, like I never came to pick it up. Like it just sat there and he knew. Like, yeah, he knew. He knew it was the protest. He knew. He took care of me though.
Was that your way of working in the protest into the show?
No, I couldn't get it. Dude, I couldn't get my pizza because of the protest. It's bullshit. I was not happy.
So I think you hit on something key with this as we try to kind of filter this out. I mean, I want to hear from the people on this too, because I think that this is one of the topics, Tim, that you bring up, that there is no 95% side to 5% side. Like, so everyone's across the spectrum when it comes to this. Everyone has their way of doing it, what they consider right, what they consider wrong. Some people do it on everything because they're like you, or people are affluent enough where they're like, yeah, whatever, I'll just tip on everything. And then they think that that's the way that it should be when other people can't afford to do that, because that's really, I mean, that's a lot of what the discourse is right now too, is that people are going through tough times and, you know, they don't have a ton of money and they don't just want to be giving money away in places where they have to go where they didn't normally tip before. It's like a new thing. And a lot of this came in after COVID or during COVID when everything switched to all online or all tap or whatever it is. And a lot of business owners just found a way like, hey, we can squeeze some extra money out. Let's do that. That was the whole impetus behind it. And enough people will just go along with it that it'll be worth our while and there won't be enough backlash to go on it. But that, you just even going through that entire thing, Jeff's mom and pop thing, I mean, that's one thing my dad always taught me growing up. He's just like, I remember it was something like they forgot to put something on a bill when I was, it's funny, just the little things that you remember from when you were a kid. And we were at a hockey tournament in Windsor, Nova Scotia. And we ate at some sort of like mom and pop diner in between games or something like that. And there's something that they didn't put on the bill that we had. And I noticed it, and I told my dad. And I was like, look, this is great. Hey, we got a free hash browns or whatever it was. I don't remember what the meal was. And he went and told them that, hey, you forgot to charge us for this. And what he kind of explained to me is like, if we were at McDonald's, it doesn't make a difference. But we're here, it makes a difference to them on their bottom line that you have to tell them about this because you don't want to rip this people off. You want to rip off a giant corporation, you go nuts. You want to rip these people off, that's a bad thing to do. So the tipping at these local businesses, these smaller shops that, you know, can't just write off waste kind of thing, like a grocery store or McDonald's, whatever it might be, those would be the ones you'd be more inclined to tip at. Am I reading that right, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense. Like in the same way, like I don't think I would, you know, I don't take
Is that why you only
from
I was gonna say, is that why you only
I don't take bags from the corner store like mom and pop's convenience. I take bags from Galen Weston. Like there. You know, that's where I'll
How
take
much
the bag
does
from.
curiosity, how much does a person have to tip at a supper club when they've been invited to a $2,500 a
You want
plate
to
dinner?
know something? You want to know something? No tips allowed,
Yeah,
buddy.
no tips. Yeah,
No
they don't
tips
they
allowed.
don't want to put that pressure on you. But you probably tip as a part, like a tip is either probably baked into the membership fee or there's an expectation, like at our golf club, that you go around and tip everyone.
It has to be.
Which people
No,
don't
it's
do.
baked in.
Which I was like one of two people to do at our golf club, as it turns out, was tipping the people
Yeah,
there.
it's
Guess
baked
I
in.
didn't
And
have
as
to
I've
do
said
that
many
one.
times before, those like guys that are working the clubhouse, the men's locker room at like a 5 p.m. they're getting like Jay's tickets. Like you'd see these old guys, they're like, I don't want to do traffic here. Have these like so there's other kinds of tips, but
Those are
there's no
perks.
cash tips.
I would say those
allowed
are
at those
perks
places.
of the job, not necessarily tips.
Yes, you are right. But we can't leave this tipping discourse. I also think people should comment on what is like maybe the craziest place you've seen tips or asked for, because I have an example.
I can't
Maybe Pat.
I can't think of one off the top. Like Subway seems, and it's funny because Subway to me, of all of the ones, probably makes the most sense where you would have to tip because you could actually like watch them build the thing in front of you. Where if you're tipping at a McDonald's, like there's one person at the counter, there's like 3 other people making the food. Like who are you actually tipping in that circumstance? But like fast food restaurants in general, I think are probably the one. But there's probably more egregious examples. Like it's not like I went to the car dealership. They were like, hey, you give the salesman a tip off the sale that you just made. Like at least that isn't happening yet.
So Pat, you know where I've seen it like quite a bit, and I don't know if this is like where you venture. People could probably attest to this, but dispensaries. These people think they call themselves bud tenders. Okay, they they think like it's an assist. Like they talk you through. I don't understand. For me, I just no, like hybrid indica, bang bang, get out of here. I don't understand these dispensaries, these bougie dispensaries. That's why I don't really deal with it. You know, I still got a guy. I'll drive door to door and I'll tip him because I appreciate it. But this bougie dispensary people, like, I'm not tipping you. Call yourself a bud tender.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, there's a big difference. Let's say if you were at like a weed shop in Amsterdam, maybe, because I think that would be the equivalency
Yeah, they're
of
serving
going
you at
in,
a table.
going to a bar and getting a drink. You don't tip the guy who brings in your stuff at the liquor store.
Yeah, exactly. It's no different than me going to any. I don't tipping the guy at 7-Eleven. Like, I don't understand. So yeah, that's like the craziest thing. Like out of line.
So
But I guess they figure in these nice neighborhoods, people, they're buying this like bougie weed. Maybe we can hit them up for an extra 15%.
Or people walk in and they're so fucking stoned they don't even realize what they're clicking on. That's probably half of it too.
Maybe, but one thing like drug addicts are like good about is like they know what their drugs cost.
It's true. That will be the Spotify question of this episode, by the way. What is the craziest place that you've been prompted for a tip? Because I really want to know. It's a weird discussion because as Paul accused him of being cheap. I don't necessarily think it's that, because you could say you're cheap for not doing this and cheap for not doing that, or you're constantly just wasting money, because you could spin it the other way as well. That I think there's a very fine line, and at this point in 2024, Tim, I think you're right that I don't think that people have any idea where the line is anymore.
Yeah, it's deeply confusing and distressing for many of us.
But if something prompts you and you don't want to tip, just press no and move on with your day. That would be my advice.
Yeah, I just don't want that hassle. McDonald's ask for that.
Okay. Let's get back to the games. The late set of games, although, Jeff, you did not make a pick for Pittsburgh and Buffalo. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take Buffalo strictly, and I don't want us to. I was strongly leaning.
Just make a pick.
Pittsburgh,
Just say one of the
Buffalo.
teams.
I don't want us sweeping on any.
Just say one of the names. Buffalo. That's enough. Thank you. Next game: Green Bay and Dallas. Dallas are 7.5-point favorites at home. Jordan Love, he's saying that the criticism for Jordan Love has evaporated, according to Aaron Rodgers. Tim, I still like Dallas in this game -7.5. I like Dallas at home in general.
Yeah, I do too. For that exact reason. As good as Green Bay's story was to get into the playoffs, this is a team that that certainly defensively can turn the screws on an opponent. But I just think CeeDee Lamb's going to have a field day. I think Dallas can win this game pretty comfortably. Yeah, that's really all there is to it. I don't trust Green Bay here at all.
Yeah, the coin is going Dallas as well. I think Dallas would probably be a pretty popular selection this week, Jeff. And we've seen Dallas's defense not be the best at times, but I don't think we've ever seen Green Bay's defense be good. They did shut down Justin Fields pretty well, I suppose, in week 18, but I expect Dallas, if we just say that we expect Dallas's offense to show up, which it almost does every single week, and Green Bay shows up like 85% of the time, and it's pretty good. When we take a look at the defense, Green Bay shows up like 2 out of 18 times, and Dallas shows up 16 out of 18 times. Just leans me towards Dallas. I just don't see how Green Bay stops them.
You're muted.
I'm gonna say, is he on mute?
Jeff might be muted.
Yeah, he is.
You turn your microphone off there, bud?
I don't know.
There you go.
You're back
think
on.
I wiggled some wires there.
This is it. Paul got.
No, that's not true. I was taking orders from the wife, like full disclosure. That, just gave me a report.
So when I heard things in the background before, it wasn't you watching Pornhub. It was your wife talking to you in the background.
No, that wasn't happening before. I don't even think they were home. She was at the doctor with one of the kids. So I don't know what that was. And I swear on Herbert's ACL, my phone was not on there, but it's fair for you to assume that that could have been me. Packers, man. You both are taking the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of points. I don't see the steamroll that's happening here. I think this is going to be a close game. I'm a sucker for these Packers and for Jordan Love. Close football game.
Okay. And I mean, that tracks by transitive property. Green Bay beat the crap out of Detroit in Detroit. Detroit just went into Dallas and almost beat them. Probably should have beat them with a 2-point conversion. And now Green Bay is going in there, and no one really believes in them. But I'm one of those people that don't really believe in them. And they won you a ton of money, so you have every right to believe in them.
Yeah, but they could lose. I am concerned. I don't know how they stop Dallas. And at some point, you figure that Dallas will make the stops required. But yeah, I'm still fangirling over the Packers right now, prepared to be fully disappointed.
This would be a game where I'd say, like, we're flipping coins here, and the coin actually took Dallas in this one when it comes to the spread. So I don't want to say that Green Bay plus 7.5 would be a bad pick. It might be the winning pick. It might be the absolute correct side. I would not tease the Packers up, though, because Dallas could blow them out.
No, I would tease Dallas down.
Yeah, I would too. Does that make sense, Jeff?
Could be the biggest ratings of a playoff game ever. Non-Super Bowl.
Why?
Dallas
Green Bay.
Dallas, Green Bay.
At the in the America's Game of the Week slot. Like, doesn't get much juicier than that, Jeff.
I'll just say this blindly. Like, I don't.
It won't compare to the champion. It won't compare to the championship games. I would say maybe the highest rated game of Wild Card Weekend, either in a long time or ever, is where I would put it.
I agree, but it's also in the money shot spot of Wild Card Weekend.
It has everything going for it. It has the right teams. It has the right time slot. It's on the right network. Yeah, this is going to be a huge rating.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
I have a teaser cooked up, by the way.
We'll
want it just at the end? Because I did.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end.
And you would assume this was probably like the first overall pick. As I watched you guys on Saturday, we always guess like how they actually draw the slots. even though they're so consistent with like say that
So,
AFC South game.
well, there was something I didn't know. I didn't realize the Monday night game had to be a 5-4 game, which apparently it does.
Yeah, neither did I. Yeah,
why
neither
is
did I.
that again? I remember there's a
So
reason.
that way they know after Sunday night, 3 of the 4 matchups, and the winner on Monday night will go to whatever is the open spot.
And it's you.
They can make the,
I think
they can make the divisional schedule.
I think it has to be where it's a 4-5. They know 3 of the games, and they can guarantee that team plays on Sunday and not Saturday, so they don't have the short week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit of sense.
And
Yeah, they can make the schedule up after Sunday night.
And one thing that we didn't realize when we did the draft for the Peacock game that Jeff brought up, and we didn't even really talk about that, if you really do want to get, Peacock they weren't going to get Dallas or Green Bay at Dallas. That was going to be in the slot that it was going to be in. I think we nailed that one perfectly. But the Taylor Swift aspect of Kansas City and getting random people to sign up for Peacock, I think we just didn't even consider.
We didn't. We knew the Houston game was guaranteed to be where it was. We knew the Dallas game was going to be where it was, so we were totally off base.
Yeah, I thought we didn't realize that the 5-4 had to be Monday night because we had Rams and Lions in at Monday night.
We did. We finished there. We initially did have them on the Sunday night spot, which would have been right, but then we moved them.
Yeah, that was fun. I like that segment.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, we can talk about it next week. Well, no, you guys, we can't because we won't be doing a show.
Yeah, we don't have the show. Rams at Detroit. Detroit's favored by 3.5 in this game. This game, Jeff, to me, is shaping up. And it's funny because the Lions aren't on a huge downswing or anything like that. Like the Lions are fine. But this just reminds me so much of Giants Minnesota from last year, where the world is on the underdog and then the underdog just wins and everyone wins money. I kind of want to take the Lions because of it, but my heart says that the Rams are going to win this game.
Okay. I didn't know where you were going with that comparison, but from a betting perspective, that makes sense. I need to ask historian Tim, do we have a memory of anything like this? Like, I'm obviously forgetting like a clearly obvious example, but someone so tenured for so long, then playing the team that's been so bad and so heartbroken for so long in the first game. Like, I don't know. I would not have been able to live through if somehow a Chargers Colts playoff game happened the year, Philip. Like, I don't even know where I'd be. And did you see the Lions are banning, saying you're not, like, don't wear from the official Lions account, unless I've been trolled, that they don't want people wearing Stafford Lions jerseys? The nerve. I couldn't imagine being told I couldn't wear a Philip Chargers jersey to a game if he was playing against the.
How do you enforce that? Do you kick them out?
I don't
show
think
up
you
in
can
it?
actually enforce it.
So it's a suggestion.
Like,
it's a suggestion. Don't wear it, please.
That being said, you were talking about what you think the ratings will be for the Dallas Green Bay game. Are you guys aware that this game on the secondary ticket market is setting wildcard weekend records? The average purchase price is $765, 2 times more than the previous wildcard weekend record. NFL script writers worked overtime on this one. I'm stealing that from the tweet here. But fever pitch. And like I said off the top, like I said a month ago, football's kicked me in the nuts a lot. But this game, like, makes me love everything about the script. Everything.
It's the only game. It's the only game this weekend I'm actually excited to see. And I'm really excited to see this game. And ultimately, the Lions aren't allowed to have nice things. So I will take the Rams. I think the Lions will lose. They're not allowed to win.
You think they're losing outright?
Yeah, I do. Even though it's been 30 years.
Jeff?
Don't be surprised. I may pick them next week.
I'm going to side with the world. Like, I'm just taking this touchdown. There's no way this thing's going to be a blowout.
It's not 7. It's 3.5.
Sorry. I'm taking the points here. I think the Rams I think the Rams can win this game.
So you're taking the Rams +7 is what you're saying.
No, I'm taking the Rams +3, but I will, I'll probably take the Rams money line. And I said I was going to
3.5.
emotionally support the losers. I feel horrible.
I'm going to take the Rams too. I think the Rams win. It's going to look really stupid when the Lions just dust them too, and the world was on the Rams. It would make the most sense in the Sunday Night Football game, chasing your losses. Oh, everyone's on the publicly backed underdog, and they just don't show up. I think they do show up, though, so that's me. And all of us, apparently, because even the coin is on the Rams with us at +3.5. Monday Night Football. Whew. Eagles at Bucks. The Bucks gave me a very nice Sunday. That was nice. And now they're 3-point dogs at home to this Eagles team. Do you have does anyone have an update on AJ Brown? I just assume he's not playing.
I have nothing.
And do we know if Devonta Smith is playing? Jeff, do you have any answers to this?
I don't.
Your name's not Jeff.
This game is disgusting.
I'm going to take Tampa. Take Tampa to win. I think the Eagles are done. I mean, their secondary is so gettable. I expect Evans and Godwin to have a field day. I think they'll be able to protect. Wouldn't shock me if the Eagles won, and then they'll just get crushed next week. But I don't know. Something tells me Tampa's going to win this game.
Does Philly do anything better than Carolina?
I mean, they have a better quarterback who, I mean, Hurts' finger might be broken. It was like bent sideways during the game in Week 18.
Just the vibe so off.
I know this isn't a fair thing to do, but how Tampa was down 10 in the fourth quarter against Carolina like 6 weeks ago when they were 4-8 or 4-7, and Mike Evans caught a 75-yard touchdown, and they somehow won that game, and they somehow beat Carolina in a must-win game while doing nothing by looking horrible. But the Eagles, it's like if you punch them in the mouth one time, you probably win. So you want to trust Tampa to be able to throw a punch. They got a lot of nasty guys on that team who will throw it. I'm taking the Eagles. I'm just playing like the hate. I'm playing off the hate for them. But they could get their ass kicked here. It wouldn't shock me. Hope I win money before I bet this game.
I'm going to take Philly as well because I can see us like it'd be one thing if Philly looked terrible and Tampa was playing pretty well, but Baker got hurt and he has been terrible since. Now, they made the playoffs. They just got ruined by the Saints 2 weeks ago. They barely beat Carolina, and Baker looked terrible in the game. Fortunately, they were playing Carolina. That maybe there is something in the tank for the Eagles. And I could see a situation brewing where the Eagles actually lay the hammer down on the Bucs, and then people start talking themselves into the Eagles next week, and then next week becomes the week to get bet against the Eagles when they get blown out by whoever.
Probably Dallas.
Probably.
The way we're looking at it.
With the way that we're looking at it would be Dallas. But even if it was Philly at Detroit, I guess it wouldn't be. It would
or
be
San
Philly
Francisco.
At San Francisco. It can't be Philly at Detroit. Well, I guess I suppose it could.
No, it can't be Philly at Detroit.
It could be Philly at Detroit.
Yeah, if
Dallas
Green Bay
loses.
were to win.
Yeah. But that's how I see it kind of shaping up. Although I guess people wouldn't want to bet Philly at that point in San Francisco. They would just assume they get blown out in that spot.
Yeah, the Eagles are not long for these playoffs, unfortunately. They started great. They just, like the Dolphins, they just hobbled in, and they're going to be done quickly.
Yeah, I have I'm not going to lay any money on the Eagles to cover this spread or win this game or whatever. I would actually prefer to see Tampa Bay win. I just think that Philly gets the job done against a bad team from a bad division.
So it's defensible.
This could just be like a single game parlay muck night because I don't want to trust my money with either of them.
Well, I mean, we're talking about this on a Tuesday evening. We may get to Monday night and Zacchaeus and Julio Jones are the two starting receivers for a Julio Jones in a revenge game at that against the Bucs. But those might be the guys that they're rolling out.
Yeah. And if they lose this game and it's like embarrassing, like the last couple weeks have been, do you think Buddy keeps his job?
Yeah, I think they keep
I would
Sirianni.
say probably, but it wouldn't shock me at this point either. You've seen better coaches go for less.
I would wager Vrabel's not back. Or not Vrabel, Matt Patricia.
Yeah, that guy, just goodness, everywhere he goes, disaster follows.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tim, you said you had a teaser you wanted to cook up. What was it?
Yeah, it's a 4-team, 7-point tease for the people. I'll give it to you backwards. We're going to tease the Rams up to 10.5. We're going to tease the Cowboys down to -0.5. Tease the Bills to -3. And because the Chiefs can't possibly lose, we're going to commit the cardinal sin.
Jesus
We're going to
Christ.
tease them through 0, and they're going to be +3.
The spread is way too small for a team that can't lose.
Go ahead, bet the Dolphins then.
No, but I mean, I just want to say, like, part of me thought, oh my God, it's going to be freezing. Miami's got all these injuries. They're in a horrible situation. And all of that is true. And they're going against Mahomes. And it's still just like 4 points. I thought for sure this game would be on the weird 5.5. 5. Like the weirdness.
I think
of
it'll
that.
probably get there. It'll probably get there.
I don't know. The spread makes me think the Dolphins are way more live than I thought they would be. And your rant solidified it for me. Like, you didn't convince me the other way. You made me run.
Okay.
Opposite.
You guys have a super lock runoff election going on besides your other election. What do you guys want to take for this week to determine a winner?
Kansas City.
Yeah, I figured that one was coming. That only makes sense. Kansas City -4 for Tim. I would suggest that you don't take Kansas City -4, Jeff, as we're trying to determine a winner.
Yo, Loco, I'm going to take the points with the Packers. I'm going to take the points with the Packers. And before we leave, people should just be reminded that Tim's got a super PAC. Like, there is a highly coordinated effort here, people. And I'm just sort of finding
voters
out
love.
about.
The voters love self-pity. They really find that endearing.
Are you
go
trying?
ahead, Jeff.
No, I'm not
Jeff
being-
is trying to say the crooked non-mainstream media is rigged against him.
And I said, I couldn't believe it was so boring and painful watching that Aaron Rodgers segment today. So I don't want to go on a long-winded, like, complaining situation because I watched firsthand, like, what that looks like from the other side of the camera. So I don't want to go there, but I just want to put it out that I was taken aback. I knew that you had a support system. I was taken aback at sort of the levels involved here. And, like, they want you to win more than you want you to win, I think.
It's good to have a team behind you of people who believe in the cause. And our victory day is coming.
And I just
have to wear that collar for the whole year.
Polls are open. Polls are opening. I encourage everyone to vote. Vote for me, vote against me. I appreciate you participating. If you truly believed I earned it, then I earned your vote. If I didn't, I think it's not right. It's wrong for you to game what me and Tim are trying to do here, fair and balanced.
Maybe 11% of people can vote for Paul again.
Yeah, don't vote for Paul or Pat, please. Like, don't waste your vote. They're not
vote
the most
for Pizzola.
He's not on the ballot.
He's not on the ballot. Cam's not on the ballot.
Yeah, I mean,
they should be, but they're not. So
why should they be on it?
it is because they're also routine guests on the Pat Mayo Experience, and I think they should be on there. But whatever, it is what it is.
I don't know. I know you're on the time restraints there.
The ballot is. Jeff deserves it. Jeff called the Chargers terrorists a couple weeks ago.
It's all relative and personal.
Vote Jeff.
Like,
you don't have to vote for me. You don't have to vote for Jeff any other year. You don't want to vote for him ever again, you don't have to. But I'm asking you, lend me your vote and cast it for Jeff. This year, he's been very misbehaved. And I think
I've actually
been so
good.
And by him thinking that he's been good, when we go through the litany of things he's done, further justifies why the only way to teach him a lesson is to vote for him to be most insane. And you folks
No,
have the
I
power.
actually recap.
You
I've
have the
been
power.
behaved. I
Cast your
think I
ballot for
have
him.
behaved.
Cast your ballot for him and send a message
I don't think I can tackle
to the
Derrick Henry.
establishment.
So here's
But I said that years ago, Jeff. You're just grasping at straws. Grasping at straws.
here's what I will end with.
what did you-
Here's what I'm going to end it with. So people can go make their votes. The Custody Awards are now open. The link is down in the description. There is a new category this year that everyone can vote on. So that one's actually a lot of fun. But I'm going to leave you with two things. This one's from Most Cuss Story. It's the week that Paul was gone and producer Megan stepped in. That Tim was explaining how he lives his day-to-day life. Producer Megan was very confused multiple times that when Tim was talking about, and Tim instinctively apologized for how he lives his life, was that one. And under biggest Feinberg rival, Austin Eckler is on the list. It just says, Jeff claimed on a podcast that Eckler had spent way too much time on podcasts lately, and he hopes the Chargers cut him.
I do have a problem. Yeah. Get out of town. Last snap. I said if the Chargers wanted to cut him before that game in Buffalo, I'd have driven to the stadium out of support of the organization. This guy takes zero responsibility. He's never done anything wrong. He can't wait to make one of his 15 podcast appearances a week to throw one of his teammates under the bus.
If he wants to do that on the Pat Mayo experience, after that, he's probably not going to want to do that. But he is welcome anytime to come on.
I wouldn't have the guts.
You probably wouldn't be on it, Jeff.
I'd steal the link.
When did you hope that Brandon Staley?
No. I was just setting that one up.
Oh, well, I have it.
Oh, you have it. Well,
You
that's
can
good.
set it up now.
We're on the same.
He didn't see it. He was on his phone.
Yeah, he's on
What
his
do you
phone. He
mean?
didn't see
Set
it.
it up.
So the other under Feinberg's rival, Brandon Staley, is on there. As Paul just threw up on the screen, it is Jeff has compared Brandon Staley to Lyle Landley, the monorail salesman from The Simpsons, and hoped he got a yeast infection for Christmas.
When did you do that?
I probably tweeted, I hope Santa brought him a fucking yeast infection. What a big deal. I don't even know can guys even get those? Well, he can get one, I'm sure.
It's 2024, Jeff. I'm sure he can.
Jeff
You're
has
right.
no
You're right. Our
sympathy
prime
for
minister,
people's medical
we got products for it in male washrooms in this fucking country now.
Does that bother you, Jeff?
It doesn't bother me.
It sounds
but
like
it's
it bothers you.
You know what?
Is it because you are jealous and you want to use them, but you can't?
No, but I had to go to the passport office today, so I saw that. Yeah,
Such
fuck
a
Brandon
thing his
Staley.
Rumble friends would complain about.
I know.
It's very
Oh,
like
come on. Like,
too
listen,
on the
there's a
nose,
line.
actually.
I'm for everyone, but
No,
not that.
Yeah.
No,
I want to thank you all
No,
for
Send a
watching.
I
message,
don't
to Jeff.
understand.
Send a message. Send a message to Jeff this year. Vote for him most insane.
That will do it
if
on the
I'm
Pat
most
Mayo
insane
experience.
because I just innocently wanted to say you should probably just nothing. No, now I have to say it because it's like, what would he have wanted to know? I was just gonna say I think you should run the tipping question by Cam because I'm very curious because he would probably like tip the guy at the beer store. He would happily. How does that work?
How about we just end the show?
Yeah, I wish we
I
did
think it's a
3
good idea.
minutes ago.
It's a good idea. Let's wrap it up. Vote Jeff.
That will do it on the Pat
Only
Mayo.
if I deserve it. Only if I deserve it. You know, Tim, you behaved too well today. That's bullshit. Like you
Well, his mic
You
didn't
behave
work half
well.
the
It's
time, so
campaigns. It's campaign season.
we might be
his mic didn't work half of the time. So like maybe he was saying crazy things and just cutting out.
shit. I don't think that went well for me, but whatever.
Now who's crazy?
You broke up there when you were talking.
I said, now who's crazy?
Well, by the votes, it's still you. You're still the winner.
Well, we'll see. We have a campaign.
There we go. Want to thank Paul. I want to thank Jeff the Coin and Tim Undergust.
Tim Andergust.
That is not my name.
Vote in the Custy Award. The link is down in the description right now. Not a hot start for Jeff on day 1 of the campaign. He's talking crazier than normal, and Tim has a good campaign video to go with it. So I want to thank you all for supporting the show. Smash the thumbs up for the channel. You can check out Jeff and I, where he is distinctively less crazy, on the Golf Pick Show. Tim brings it out of him. And I'll be back on Thursday with Cam and Pizzola to talk about the best bets. And then I think Tambo on Friday. Someone on Friday, maybe Tambo, to talk about the DraftKings slate for the week. All right, thank you all for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!